Yeah, welcome to Drinkin Bros podcast. Tad hungover today. The good thing about it is we have a strong guest here to lean on. Adam Ray is here, one of your favorite comedians, one of my favorite comedians. Welcome to the show. Did you get fucked up watching that game yesterday?
Thanks for having me. I did. You know, it's a rare thing when you get a guy like Tom Brady, who I usually hate, and I still do.
Same.
I don't have a lot of joy in my heart for him because, you know, I'm surprised Joe Buck halfway through his, you know, stroking of the ego / cock of Brady. Can you say ego on the show?
Yeah, but
okay.
you can't say Joe Buck though. That is actually we struck that for the convo.
Are you for real?
We fucking hate Joe Buck.
Okay,
on the
well
show.
then you're gonna love this. I don't like how they have to do it. It's. I used to say this about the commentators, the way they would kiss LeBron's ass before he became so. Actually, it was still when he was like 5-6 years in.
Yeah.
They were like, "Holy shit! Look at LeBron jump for that loose ball into the crowd. Like, you got to respect that effort." I was like, "The guy's getting paid hundreds of millions of dollars. That's his job. Like, you know, you could give me $100 to jump into oncoming traffic to get a ball. So like, he's supposed to be doing that. But with Tom Brady, same shit. Joe Buck is like, he's like 43. I can't believe it. COVID, the mask, the testing. He moved to a different city. He's overcame so much. His hot wife, he's hot. Yeah. You know, the things, his kid is hot too. And this isn't about his hot kid or the fact that I want to blow him. It's about the fact that Tom is, I would love to go to Tampa tonight and I climb through his window and just smell his taint. And Tom, if you're listening, and I know you're not because you're playing, but maybe you'll listen to the replay. Dude, what would it take for me to fuck? It's fourth down for the Buccaneers. You know, he just like went on this tirade of just how great he is, and it's like, yeah, man, like
we get it.
We get it.
He's got 6 rings. You don't have to keep talking about it.
And
he
all
kept
of
himself
Twitter,
in shape.
All of Twitter was said the same thing. Like when Joe Buck trends, it is not because of his greatness. It's because he's a piece of shit, sucking somebody's dick. And yesterday, he
just
was
be a little more neutral is all I asked for.
He had 4 inches of Brady's cock in his mouth at the broadcast. It was hard.
Which, by the way, real quick,
hear.
How what do we think it is?
Of the Super Bowl?
Brady. Do we think 4 inches is just like, are we starting at that? Is that half of it?
He's 6'4". He's probably got a hog on him, right?
Yeah. Well, here's the deal. I lost, $5K on that game yesterday? It was brutal. Shout out to mybookie.com, promo code Drinkin Bros. Doubles your deposit because I lost all that goddamn money to you. I have been the biggest non-believer in Tom Brady of anyone, maybe in the history of this shit. I went to Ohio State. I watched him play for Michigan, obviously. Beat him 3 out of 4 times. And yes, I'm including myself as part of the Ohio State Buckeyes team.
Yeah.
He was fucking awful in college.
Really?
So when he got drafted, I was like, oh. And then they were like, oh, 3 years later, they were like, he was in the 6th round. And they've got those shots of him. Hot Bob, can you pull up that classic Brady shot of him without a shirt on in college? It is going into the combine. They used to take pictures of you shirtless. I don't know if they still do that. But when they did, and they were like, oh, can you believe he was drafted in the 6th round? Yes, he was shitty in college. There he is. Yeah,
he looks like...
There's his combine picture. Put that on the screen, Hot Bob.
He looks like a kid who wore his shirt when he swam in the 5th grade. And I know that because I did that. But... yeah, he turned it around probably when, maybe he got with...
Drew Bledsoe. I don't know about the TB12 shit, right? So, Bledsoe gets knocked out. That was the worst, one of the most violent hits I've ever seen. And Bledsoe, they did a 30 for 30 on Bledsoe the other day.
Oh, yeah.
Who's doing fine. He sells high-end wines. He's got his own vineyard.
Good for him.
Yeah.
That's the move, I feel like.
I felt better after that.
You go to the booth or you have a type of booze.
Correct.
That you put your name on and hope that your local fandom and hopefully just, that you haven't done anything too shitty post playing. People still go, I'll have some Drew Brees or Drew Bledsoe Chardonnay.
It's highly rated. It's expensive. He's doing great. But he talked about the moment he got hit when Brady came in.
Yeah.
His heart actually stopped and he was dead for about 15 seconds.
No way.
Which no one knew. So if that hit,
I would open with that in every.
Yes. But if that hit doesn't take place, Brady doesn't get a shot. We fucking never hear from this guy.
Brady looks more like Aaron Rodgers' career than Brady's career, probably, right? Not necessarily the win-loss stuff, but definitely the 3 years on the bench.
Yeah.
Wow.
Right? So Bledsoe goes into this interview and he's like, dude, I'm am legally dead at this point. And it was so bad that they called his parents down from the stands. And he's a fucking grown up, right? They only do that shit in like JV or standing outside the fire, the Garth Brooks song, where the young retarded boy's running, and then the parents come down from the stands. That's the only type of shit that happens to unless you're dying. They came down and they showed like the behind the scenes footage of it, of him getting on the ambulance. His eyes were out. He was gone. Like they were yellow.
Wow.
And they were like, you're losing all of your functions and everything else. They rushed him to the hospital. He was fine like 4 weeks later, but Brady didn't lose.
Yeah.
And they were like, hey, man.
Wally Pipp. Do you know that name?
Yeah.
You know who Wally Pipp is?
Oh, yeah.
Does he have anything to do with Mr. Pipp?
No, I wish.
No.
That's the
Big
guy
fan
that's the guy that Lou
Mr.
Gehrig
Pipp.
replaced at first base.
Oh, wow.
And then
there he is.
Never stopped.
Wow.
Yeah.
So Brady.
Brady
owes
comes
him
in.
something.
Well, here's the thing. Brady comes in, wins the Super Bowl, right?
Can't go back
Bledsoe
on
is
that.
still beloved. You move on with your life at that. Bledsoe gets a shot at another franchise, blah, blah, blah. If that death hit doesn't take place, I still don't think we know who Tom Brady is.
Really?
Yes.
You know what I heard?
Right place, right time.
Yes.
You know Ryan Clark, right? On ESPN,
Yeah.
former Steelers guy. He said this morning they were debating about the best quarterback of all time and the Belichick-Brady relationship and all that shit. Who's good at what? One of the points made was that Brady leaving kind of exposed how bad of a GM Belichick is. Like, he's a great coach, but his GM skills are not very good. Clearly.
Yeah. Because he wanted to keep Garoppolo, which we have now seen is just not panning
Max
out.
Kellerman got roasted pretty good this morning for that. And he should get roasted every day because he's a cunt. But
well, Max Kellerman's only great at boxing. The rest of it is just, it might as well be he's fucking monkey up there.
It's tough for those guys to every day come up with new things to say that haven't been said by everybody else. I mean, it's why most fans, I think, rightfully so, are like, I could be on that show right now. Cut to me at home being like, you gotta fucking, I mean,
I want to hear Sal
good
from North Jersey talking about the Jets.
Oh, by the way, those shows would all be so much more entertaining if they had a 5-minute chunk
100%.
where they cut to a fan who won a contest, and they always had the bleep button ready, the fucking anti-Semitic button ready, whatever it is, and maybe they screen him a little bit, and then just let that guy go and give a fan perspective. Because my favorite parts of, I got a couple buddies that host Seattle sports shows on for Seattle's ESPN affiliate, and the best parts are when they get people calling in that are kind of off the rails. And they feed into it, and it's like, man, like you want to, because every fan, again, feels like they know enough to be able to chime in. And, but then, quickly when certain follow-up questions are had, you realize, okay, like I don't do this professionally and on a daily basis. So there's certain things I don't know, but I don't know, man, talking to a fan that's boozed up live on air with professionals who are sober again, like
I mean, we do that shit actually live.
Live.
Whenever we do events, we have people come up.
And Saturday night we did the UFC show where, look, lost 2K on McGregor that night, but there were 60 people in here raging. The reactions from that video are live on, and you can't make that up. Where you're like, all right, great, this is why you do it, because McGregor was a 3-1 favorite in that, and when he got knocked the fuck out, it was like, oh my god, I didn't even care about the money at that point. I was like, holy shit, we just got to see this happen. But back to Brady with the 4-inch dick thing, because I've railed
I was
on
hoping
him,
we would get back to that.
We have to, because he
got
I'm gonna
Giselle.
give Brady his
I don't think Giselle's with him for his sense of humor.
No.
And I would love to know what was the thing that made her go, I don't do voices, but
he doesn't lose.
Hey, like what did he say that made her?
He's a winner.
Really go.
He's a fucking winner.
He's an alpha. Look at the videos he posts. Whenever he's talking shit, it's very subtle, right?
But
like,
he'll remember all of it, like Portnoy this morning.
Yeah. He posts those videos of him and Gronk all the time.
Yeah,
like
those are great.
Yesterday, he doesn't half the time. He doesn't say a fucking word.
But you see him on the sidelines.
You can see it in his eyes. He's like,
seething.
Here's what I do love about him that I was always, patiently waiting for my guy Russell Wilson to get a little piece of was just that on the field passion and yelling at teammates and he finally started to do it. I'd say in like 2014 when we beat the Packers in that game, and then.
He is a branding guy, no fucking heart.
Well, you're talking about Brady?
Yeah. So we host.
You're talking about Russ.
No, I'm talking about Russell Wilson. So we host a rather large sports show. The reason why ours is different is we're great at gambling. So we go by the numbers, right? So I'm purely a spread guy. That is it. I don't give a fuck about anything but green on this. With the Seahawks, no matter what that fucking spread is, they will find a way to not cover it, and they will break your goddamn heart rip it out, and then feed it to your grandfather.
Yeah.
Like losing to a third-string quarterback on the Rams that day.
Yeah.
Oh, trust
and
me.
they were
Yeah.
-3. That's it at home.
The real problem.
-3. Jared Goff had a fucking rubber thumb on that game.
The real problem with
He had
with
the post office thumb.
Yeah, the real problem with gambling on the Seahawks is that they're too good to take the money line because the odds are always going to suck. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's going to be like, at best, they're going to get like a -125, -140, right?
You've got to take the spread, and they will find a way to lose it by a half a point.
Back to Brady, though. This is the point I was making before with
Yes.
Brian Clark. He said that Tom Brady is the best organization in NFL history, right? Like whatever you can see it now because when he went down to Tampa, he goes, I want this guy, and this guy. And he got it. And then he coached the team on the field, and then he fucking won, and here he is, right?
Yeah, do you think there was a conversation at some point where he was like, look, guys, Bruce Arians, whoever else is there, like, you guys have been in the league. You know what you're doing. I know I just got here, but I'm also coming in with, like, a lot of, support. Like, I don't know, did you see all these things? Like, that's got to say something. And then at what point do they just go, yeah, you're right, fucking, what do you want to do, right?
That, by the way, that's exactly what they did.
It's
so
gotta be.
they said, what do you want? Because in New England, he'd done that for years. And they said, no, we're not. We'll give you things.
Oh, no, 2 times. They gave him Dixon one time, and they gave him Moss one time, and that was it.
That was it for 20 years.
Yeah.
It was almost like a parent saying, hey, man, we're super poor to get the toys you want. You're going to have fun with these because that's all we're fucking giving you.
My single mom used to say, you can go outside and play a game called Find the Sticks. And I was like, or you could get a 4th job, bitch, and buy me some Ninja Turtles. So let's just explore options before I start picking up sticks for no fucking reason. What do you think?
So he went in and asked for Antonio Brown. Specifically, and then he asked for Gronkowski.
Yeah.
Those are the 2 big asks, and they immediately balked on Antonio Brown. Once the suspension came back, they were like, all right, great, do it. His last 4 games before he got injured were fucking disgusting. That's what got them to here, essentially.
Yeah.
Which is why I bet against them yesterday, where I was like, all right, Antonio Brown is out. Mike Evans, limited. They weren't sure who was going to start at running back because Ronald Jones got some fucked up shit. And I was like, Green Bay -3 at home. All in.
Yeah,
let's go all in.
It's not just about the personnel he brought in. It's about the personnel they have and how he personally decides to use them. That pass to Scotty Miller.
Scotty fucking Miller.
That was a designed play. Brady came up with that play. That's my understanding from talking to some people in the league over the last or since yesterday. They're saying that he knows nobody knows who the fuck Scotty Miller is, and he's good enough to make that play. So they just fucking let him kind of lurch down the field a little bit and then sprint, and he'll throw it to him at the end of a half or end of a quarter, sometime when stuff is quiet or people are not expecting.
Or the Packers were playing man with 5 seconds left for a Hail Mary pass.
I don't know what they were thinking.
Don't understand that either. I was like,
that's another moment as a fan where you think you know a little bit more in the moment because you're like, you shouldn't be doing that.
Yeah.
Now, Brady took less money, right? That's like the thing that's famous about.
Well, in New England. So then
New England, yeah.
But he goes down to Tampa,
years.
and then they were like, great, $20 million a year, whatever the fuck it was.
Well, you deserve it at that point. But I think that's why guys like, I think Russ are coming under fire because it's like, all right, like you got a lot of endorsements. Like maybe you take less so they can build a team around you. Because I mean, what is Brady? What are his endorsements? Doesn't he do a
TB12?
Gillette? Does he do a razor?
Yeah. TB12, Gillette. But Gillette,
man. Get that Gillette money.
I'm sure he's got
also owns a stadium in New England.
Is it the best a man can get?
No,
let's be honest.
It's not. Harry's.
I think you can do
Harry's.com.
And that's what I was transitioning into. I knew you had a shave sponsor somewhere.
Yeah, $3 when you order that bag. But
by the way, that's a true power move to use another brand's slogan into your actual sponsor.
Into my actual ad.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why we have Killcliff CBD too, because they make us sell Joe Rogan's drinks on our show.
Wow.
It's like, hey man, if you want to aspire to a bigger podcast, we know you guys are ranked in like the top 50, but you're not number 1.
Right.
Here's number 1. Can you sell his drinks?
Yeah.
Rogan's, I think it's even on a different, I don't even put it in a ranking system. I just feel like there's that and then there's everybody else.
Rogan's a category of one.
Yeah.
He's higher than CNN.
Coke.
He's higher than CNN a month.
He's Coke in the South. Like when somebody says Coke, they mean any soft drink. Like, hey, have you seen Joe Rogan?
Yeah, when
Coke
somebody
big in the
says
South?
podcast? Oh,
no, it is, yes. But they in the South, people refer to any soft drink
as a Coke. Like Give me a Coke, and then they'll say what kind.
Oh, I was thinking of cocaine.
Oh, no.
No, that too. But if you need that,
cocaine,
there's plenty of that. Giorgio's over there.
I actually have never done Coke. Big weed guy, shrooms a couple times. Here's why I haven't done Coke yet. The first time I ever saw it, I was in college, and I was sitting on the couch at a frat party, and a dude who I hadn't met, busted out of the bathroom right to me and goes, dude, I'll tell you why baked potatoes are better than mashed potatoes. And I was like, I've never met you before. And you're acting like this conversation was already taking place, down to talk taters, but like, let's talk, favorite colors first and like ease into that. And then I asked my buddy, I was like, what was that guy on? He was like, Coke. And I was like, oh, cool. That seems kind of fun. And then the night progressively, this guy just was like out of control. And then I've had a couple weed brownie experiences where my heart has like, you get to that point where you get so paranoid. You play that game with yourself where you're like, okay, if I do this, my heart won't pop out of my chest.
It's like being in a sensory deprivation chamber.
Yeah. So I was on the little makeshift patio that my place had at the time, and I started kind of, it was a mixture of like tap dance, river dance, and for some reason in my head I was like, if I keep fucking, step ball changing out here, my heart won't explode. And like literally, it was the apartment complex had like a pool in the middle and like apartments all the way around, kind of like Melrose Place.
Yes. Was it on Beechwood Canyon?
This was on Laurel Avenue, a block from the Laugh Factory in LA. Yeah. And so there's a guy across the way. There's like 3 a.m. I was with Josh Wolf. We just interviewed Jonathan Coachman at his hotel and took a little. It was so fun. And
Jonathan Coachman from now ESPN.
Yes.
From wrestling.
Yeah. And Josh gave me all this weed brownie. And Josh is a professional.
He is
weed
a
smoker.
professional. Yeah.
He's a professional drug guy.
Yes. Yep.
And he can just. But I was just, sometimes when you're just feeling good and you roll the dice and you're like, you know what, man, like I had a good workout today. I had this and that, a pod to close the night. It's only 8:30. Like I can get fucked up. So I ate too much brownie, find myself just moments away from a cardiac arrest. And I'm on the patio fucking, shuffling. And for about 8 minutes, and then I just hear from across the apartment, I just hear some guy go, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, yo, you let me do that for 8 minutes before you thought, maybe he's not rehearsing for a play.
Yeah.
And so then I went inside and momentarily sobered up. But just that, and then knowing that like Coke can speed everything up has really like made me afraid to get the heart rate to a place where it could be scary.
I
now,
understand.
That being said,
yeah,
I am definitely like succumbed to peer pressure like anybody. So let's say Betty White walked in here, right?
99.
99-year-old gangster Betty White, who I think is still fucking getting it in too. I read some article like at 95 where she was like, I still love a good old fashioned finger blast. I'm paraphrasing what she said in the article, but
I think you're correct. I think it was finger blast.
I think she said she would catch a finger from time to time.
That's
it.
That was a cleaner version of it.
Yeah.
But if she came in and was like, I've got a couple bumps. Or rails. What's the terminology?
Bumps or rails?
Bumps or rails.
Bumps is kind of just like a pick me up. It's a nice thing. It's a nice little.
Is a bump like if you were hitting a one hitter?
Yeah, well, it's kind of like a little dab right there. It's just like how's your father, right?
Yeah.
But a rail is like let's have a conversation. Tell me where you're from. You know what I'm saying? Like you're going into somebody's
it's for the
past.
casual druggie.
Correct. Yes.
So a rail is like
let's talk.
You're
for a
trying
while.
to swim to Cabo.
Yeah, let's chat. You're gonna have a 5-minute convo.
There's a guy named Huge. I was just in Australia doing the Young Rock show, right? And I had to quarantine for 2 weeks. Then I was out for 3 weeks to basically live a normal life because their cases are down, maskless, doing shows, went to a rugby game. And I'm doing a show one night, and this 6'6" guy who's just looked like he ate Chris Hemsworth. He's gigantic. If you pull up his Instagram page, it's Huge. His name's Eugene, but he calls himself Huge.
Pop that up, Bob. Let's get a peek.
Huge. It's man. So this guy comes up to me. He's like, mate, you're my favorite fucking comedian. All this shit. I'm like, oh, thanks, man. You must have not seen
huge like Eugene, not like Trump.
Yeah, Huge. Yeah, there you go. Oh man. Let's see. Maybe type in Instagram. No, that's not him. Let's see. There you go. Top left, baby.
Top left, hot Bob. There you go.
Yeah,
oh,
dude.
God, that guy came up to you?
comes on me and he goes, "Do you want to go do? Do you want to do some racks later? Do a rack?" And I'm thinking he means pool. So I go, "Oh hell yeah, man! I love hell yeah.
Yeah."
And then he leans in and goes, "Fuck yeah, dude!" Like really intense. And I was like, "Oh, I don't think he meant pool. I think he meant something else." Then I didn't meet up with him for whatever reasons, because then he sent a lot of texts that were like, "Hey, I'm not going to be able to make it to your second show because a buddy of mine came over. We got into a fight. He threw a chair at me. I threw him through the wall. Yada yada yada. The strippers left. What are you doing tomorrow?" And I was like, "Hey man, give me a day to
Process
digest
that.
all this."
Jesus
The
Christ.
problem is when you do coke.
That
with
seems
a-
like the
with a
wrong guy to do
guy-
it with for the first time, right?
Anytime. Because we discussed this yesterday. We were on for 8 hours for the AFC and NFC championship yesterday. There was a horrific story where the kicker for what the fuck school was
Florida
it?
State.
Florida State ripped a turtle in half from another fraternity.
R.I.P.
No.
Turtle.
Yeah, turtle, right?
Turtle the turtle, yeah.
Yeah, turtle
Wait,
the turtle.
an
yeah.
actual turtle?
An actual
Yeah,
live.
he like grabbed
that's
each side of
awful.
the
Yeah.
shell. Like
Wait, why?
that
Yeah.
person should be in prison
So-
forever.
Oh, that.
The football players got in a fight with the frat, and Guayo, who was the kicker for Florida State at the time, just took the frat turtle and ripped it in half.
Shell to shell, like, and then boom.
that is so fucking
gnarly.
sad.
But that's probably why you don't want to do coke with a bigger guy, because shit like that is going to happen. It's going to live in your mind forever. What you just described, him throwing somebody through a wall and then the strippers and all that other shit, like at some point, he probably gave a rap on the beak to one of those strippers, right? Probably out of accident, but was
Yeah.
just like, get the fuck out of here. I've got 2 lines left. It's not for you.
Yeah.
You know?
By the way, I was waiting for
that's
some
the
sort of a
danger.
transition from that. Ripped that turtle just in half
Yep.
and was shredded. And dude, it was rough. Speaking of rough, if your skin's getting a little too rough, Harry's Razors has got the perfect smooth glide to clean it up.
He's a professional.
No, when we segue into the sponsors, we go hard into it. So
we
we
do.
have a bad one.
Man.
We'll go hard into like rape or something like that, or Casey Anthony. We'll get there and you'll know it. Like you'll actually know it. You'll be like, oh fuck, I'm in that bed now.
Yeah, I feel like
I'm in it.
I feel like some people in the audience that have been listening over the last couple of years, 5 years now, probably they can feel it coming.
6
Yeah,
years.
they
Yeah,
can
they can
feel it.
really feel the
They can-
rape coming.
Yeah, but not the rape itself.
Well, no, but it's a mental rape. But then you got to get that bed.
Well, they
Great
decided to
band
come
name.
here. What's
There's
we
I
do
think about
podcast consent. We need to have a discussion about it.
Yeah,
Right.
I think so. We have no HR here, so it doesn't really matter.
No,
You don't?
Dan's he's our
no.
HR department.
nice. Dude.
Yeah, yeah. And by HR, he just wrote HR with a marker on his hand. So, go see him if you have any complaints after this. But yeah, if you're doing coke with a guy like that, and then you'll end up ripping turtles in half and all that other shit, then it's going to have a negative experience. You want to do it with somebody like who's friendly and dainty. Like I don't even know what your name is over there, but somebody like that where you're just like, oh, all right, cool. Nothing can go wrong here tonight. Nobody who's shredded like a fucking pair of ripped jeans from Def Leppard concert. Like no one like that.
No, look, unless you want to fucking hang out with the Macho Man Randy Savage all goddamn night, because that's what steroids and cocaine look like together.
Oh, but I love that. Though.
Yeah, but after 20 consecutive minutes of him talking to you like that, you're probably going to kill yourself. You're like, hey, just like, I'm just trying to, before you even talk to him, you're like, Randy, I'm just trying to ask you a question, dude. Is the temperature in here okay? Ooh, and it just goes off in a 20-minute fucking
Do you know
rant
that's
to
his
you.
real voice too?
Yeah, dude.
Dude, there was a behind-the-scenes thing from Florida where he was doing like a charity thing for one of his buddies who was in a wheelchair for something. Don't know what it was. Whatever. I don't know if he was para or full fucking quad, but he was talking to somebody, normal conversation. He's like, yeah, it would mean a lot to me if you guys could donate to and he
Not
puts
an
his
act.
arm around the guy in the wheelchair, and I was like, oh, fuck, man. That's Randy. Or Randall.
Randall, yeah.
I don't know.
Was Randy.
Well, R.I.P.
R.I.P.
Heart
Yeah,
attack.
yeah,
Cocaine and steroids, by the way. Heart
And
attack.
Slim Jims.
Yeah.
Like those things, as much as they're
Well,
a lot of
both.
fun to grab for a road trip, like, man, probably.
That shouldn't be your primary source of protein.
Both snaps.
No
His
way,
his
it's
heart
not
and
real
the
meat.
Slim Jims both snapped.
Yeah.
He had a heart attack, and I believe he ran into a tree in a car. Yeah.
I actually dressed up the first time I did mushrooms. I dressed up as the Slim Jim guy. Like, I guess, well, wasn't there a Slim? He was.
I think his name is Slimothy James.
Yeah, James. Slimothy James Simpson.
Yeah.
Right. But that's the move if you're trying to. I mean, look, Slim Jim did the right thing by getting him on board. It's like when you're I don't know who their mascot was before that.
I believe it was like a small donkey.
Did Hulk ever do any sort of snacks? Like, did he ever have
He
like
had the vitamins, and he had the cereal for a long time.
But I'm talking like
That
snacks.
was the cereal
like
came from the
7-Eleven.
cartoon, though, right?
No.
Didn't the cereal come out of the cartoon after?
Yes, it did. So the cereal came out of and then the vitamins he had.
There we go, yeah.
Oh, there's the original Slim
I had a
Slim Jim
wig
guy,
that
yeah.
looked like that guy, and the whole night everyone kept being like, Slim Jim guy. And I was, first time on shrooms, so I was like, hey, man, like, I was dancing with a girl for 45 minutes and thought I was coming and I wasn't, so let me adjust back to reality because before you start, like, telling me that I'm somebody else. But, yeah, that guy was really pushing the gyms for
Yeah,
a while.
where do you think he's at right now?
I don't know. I want to believe that these guys are like, had a nice run and like he transitioned to a cushy, maybe he opened a bakery somewhere but he could be face down somewhere.
There we go. Dimitri
There we go.
Gortis. What's he
cool.
doing? Oh, look at that. He's got a decent IMDb. Pull him up.
Oh, he transitioned
American
into a
Canadian actor?
film.
73 credits. Look at that. Dimitri.
Saving Private Ryan. Shut
Fuck
the fuck
you,
up.
dude.
No way.
You know-
who is he in Saving Private Ryan? Pull up
I
an
can
older
tell you
picture.
exactly who he is.
Scroll down and look.
Yeah.
You can see what character he plays.
It says it right here.
What is it?
Parker. Parker, get out. He's the guy who dies with Jackson in the bell tower.
Oh,
No way.
way.
Snap into a Slim Jim guy?
shit. I
Was
doubt
in Saving
anybody in
Private
America
Ryan.
knew that before right now.
No, Tom Hanks knew that.
Fuck.
Well-
yeah. Well,
Tom Hanks has
He knows
an
a lot. He knows,
incredible memory.
He knows about those flight logs.
sure does. Sure does for Epstein. You heard about that, obviously.
Are they re-releasing
Yeah, I mean,
Snowpiercer?
yeah. I mean,
Snowpiercer's going to be a TV show, by the way.
Oh God,
And it's
how?
out now.
How are
Yeah,
they going to
it's
stretch that
Hollywood.
movie? That movie. That movie was like what, an hour 35? It should have been like 12 minutes.
I enjoyed it.
It was a good movie,
hence
but
it's going to
they
be a
just stretched
series.
that thing out. Come on.
You believe the Tom Hanks pedo shit? We had a dude on who went
don't.
in. He went in. He launched into the whole story, right?
Yeah.
And then he told us that's Colin Hanks. And again, I have no knowledge of this.
Totally.
Don't
I think-
come after me, Tom Hanks.
Yeah.
I enjoy your whole shit.
look, most things are,
seems very
are
unlikely.
hearsay and second, right? Even you look at it just on a small scale with like sports, and when there's like injury rumors or trade rumors, it's like sometimes that shit is just put out there to kind of to move the needle and get things talked about, especially in the sports
It's
world.
called a test balloon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
In the intelligence community.
and then I guess it's
Anyway.
just how you were raised, where you stand on other things. I choose to want to believe that a guy who is one of my favorite actors, whether he's the most clean guy or not, like whether he's probably had road rage,
Yep.
for sure, he's a human being. Do I believe he is involved in something like that? No, but that's what I choose to believe. Now that's also me saying that without doing any sort of deep dive on research and stuff, but. And it's not even like, I haven't heard about it in the mass press, so
yeah.
I don't believe it. It's not that. It's just that I don't want to. I don't know if something
The
came out
Grease
about.
thing seemed really like I didn't buy into. So
But they've been going there for like 30 years. I didn't know that before.
Yeah, we had a guest on the show, Matt Belinsky. He was the one who broke that story. He said, "Look, Colin Hanks has got he goes, look at him with the shirt off. He's got the sex cult tattoos on each shoulder and blah 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 blah." I went into the whole thing, and I was like, "Man, I love you, dude. I can't fucking buy into this shit." And then the Grease thing happens like a month later, and then today, maybe an hour ago, this Apollo CEO, Leon Black, he just stepped down because he gave $148 million to Epstein. That was revealed, and you're like, I don't know anymore.
Yeah, I guess
like Michael
until-
Jackson. When I was a kid, I
Great
had no idea.
example. Yeah,
he
I
was
mean-
licking little kids' assholes.
So you think that for sure?
Now I do, but I
Based
didn't
on what?
forever after that doc on HBO.
Me too.
Same.
I just feel like,
It was too many stories that were
Dude,
consistent.
too specific. And the folks, like, you can tell if you have a good sense of social awareness and reading people and having an intuition when people are acting and when they're not, especially for stuff like that. And the look in some of these kids' eyes, I'm like, and this is an argument a buddy of mine made where he was like, that kid was acting. And I'm like, dude, like, maybe watch it again or listen to some of the parents. Like, you could tell they were not actors. They were people that were like not all that comfortable to be on camera and had to relive some shit.
Yeah, like,
and
what do you expect a traumatized person that's not familiar with media to just like be good on?
and
the
recount
show?
stuff
Like,
to that specific about
Yeah,
like the mom, like people trying going to the screening room and hiding there with the kid, and then I don't know.
Yeah,
dude.
it's just weird. Although we're thinking about starting a new show called Inside the Crisis Actor Studio.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hosted by who?
David Hogg, I guess. I don't know.
David Hogg.
You got to get a Lipton adjacent type host.
Correct.
Oh no, we've got a guy.
Yeah, we got a
Who
guy.
looks like him?
He looks. He
We'll
looks
just do the
kinda like
voice.
him.
You got to get one or the other.
Well, he looks like a very awful version of him.
Yeah, he looks the Wish.com version.
Younger.
Yeah.
Yeah, very Wish.com of him.
Lipton was a gangster. That's a
gangster.
guy.
Dude, he was a fucking pimp in Paris back in the 1950s and 60s.
Was he really?
A real one,
but,
yeah.
But
Yeah.
not like an American pimp. Over there, you're basically like their secretary. Like
Correct.
the girls own everything. You're just their secretary. So
Yeah.
it wasn't like as glamorous as it seemed.
he just scheduled the appointments.
But Americano.
But I'm sure he
He's
took.
like, Catherine, you've got an anal at 4 o'clock.
yeah.
What's your favorite curse word? What's your favorite position for this next suitor?
I'm sure he took non-cash payments from time to time. Right?
Goddamn right.
Yeah.
And
That's
if
a
they were-
guy.
And God bless him for it.
Oh man, that's. I mean,
Sex workers are important to the economy. Let's be
Sure.
real.
Yes.
If they're
Sex
of
workers
legal
keep
age.
marriages together, right? They keep the husband from going to look for an actual
That's
other
a
partner.
bumper sticker, a T-shirt,
Yeah.
or a fucking
A
platform to
lifestyle.
run for office on.
It's a
Like
lifestyle.
really, if you're a woman and you want to spend forever with this dude, right?
Yeah.
And all you have to do to make that happen is let him fuck somebody now and then. That seems reasonable to me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It seems
Don't tell my
reasonable
wife
to me.
that. Don't
No,
tell my wife
and
that.
vice
I was gonna say,
versa,
wait a
by the
second,
way.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like everybody gets the same treatment. There's no, except for driving.
Obviously. And if you're out there having sex and you are a pimp, hopefully you're having sex on a ghost bed from ghostbed.com/drinking bros. They have verified that Michael Jackson never licked a kid's asshole in one of these things. MJ free.
They didn't exist back then, so.
Yeah, they did and they didn't. There's been ghosts in the atmosphere forever. Go to ghostbed.com/drinking bros today. 40% off a bundle package and an adjustable base with the promo code Drinkin' Bros at checkout. Pillows, sheets, mattresses, adjustable bases. You name it, they got it. And as always, they got a 36-month pay-as-you-go program at no interest there at ghostbed.com/drinking bros. Which is, all these deals are applicable with that. It's like fucking $35 a month. You can have fun. We got one more sponsor here, Adam.
Let's do it. Who is it?
ExpressVPN.com/drinking bros. Get yourself a VPN. Is this the porn one? Because
Yeah, I mean, look, it's
you can unlock porn.
There's two real good uses for this. One
Yeah.
is to lock down your own shit.
Correct.
The more important one is to, get access to shit you shouldn't get access to, right?
Porn. Netflix is from around the world.
Yeah.
Celebrities' accounts.
Well, I don't know about
Yikes.
that.
Yeah.
But it basically masks your IP address so they can't tell geographically where you are. That's really, it's that simple. And then there's other protections that this particular software uses.
It lets you change your online location. So that way it's like, oh, hey, man, where's Crystalia at?
like MLB.TV, any of the
in
sports,
France.
any of the sports streaming services, right?
Yeah.
They're like, you're in a blackout zone. Not anymore, right?
Dope.
Correct.
Because blackout zones are fucking stupid.
Yeah,
Yep.
they really are.
You can go on everybody's Netflix, new shows, movies. You choose from 100 different countries. You can go to fucking UK and watch that shit. Japanese Netflix. You can watch Doctor Who on UK Netflix. I don't know what's different about it, but
Well, maybe The Office is
people
still
love it.
something other than Peacock internationally.
Maybe. Works on Hulu, BBC, all that stuff. Go to expressvpn.com/drinking bros to get an extra 3 months of ExpressVPN for free. expressvpn.com/drinking bros. $7 a month if you sign up for a year. You get 3 for free. Speaking of which,
Yeah.
Speaking of Michael Jackson, protect your digital butthole.
Correct.
One of the slogans for that.
it is one of the slogans that we made, not
Well,
them.
they didn't want anything to do with that. no.
Really want to point that out. I wonder if they had a different UK version over there because they go harder, where it was just like the kids had to pull out their dick and be like
the
this
documentary,
is the
you mean?
spots where
Yeah.
Michael Jackson
Yeah, I mean, it's
touched me.
like you were saying, the stories, and you said this when it first came out.
Yeah.
The stories were so specific. That seems like they're telling the truth.
Yeah, and I don't know, the way in which they met, like the backstage, the kid being a dancer, like trying to help him, and also, this was at a time when no social media, so there was, people were, the whole idea of being famous and a superstar like that is just, it's just changed. So it's like when there was only a way to see Michael Jackson was to go see him live like that and not have him be doing an IG live
Right.
or something like that. You're just on a different planet. So when you're in an opportunity where he's telling your folks like, come do this, I'll fly the parents out, we'll go do this, like anybody would have done that. But then you see even the parents were like, but then when he was like, hey, I want to take your kid on the road for a year, like, yeah, even if I'm sure the parents were like, well, yeah, but I have a couple requirements. You're not going to lick his asshole, are you? Like, I'm sure they didn't ask that, but I'm sure their reasons were justified as far as like, well, it's just kind of weird. Like, look, you're Michael Jackson. This is fucking rad. But like, a grown man and a kid, like we know you, but we know you because we know who you are, not because we know your intentions. So
Yeah.
And again, like
Celebrity was different back then than it is now too, right? Like
It is, man, and it sucks
That was
today.
right around the time that we started to find out things about people that some folks found morally objectionable, like what's his name? Rock Hudson was gay and died of AIDS.
Yeah.
Nobody knew about that shit.
R.I.P.
Yeah, and like people were like celebrity the image of
Are you going to
celebrity.
put up a graphic of him right there?
Yeah.
I was curious. Like, that was a very throwaway rest in peace. I don't feel like you really meant that.
I never do. We have a drinking game of just throwing out RIP to everyone.
Yeah.
Oh, great.
Most of the time, the people aren't dead, and I really want to point that out.
Yeah.
So he could be.
Dude, the amount of times I've thought Bob Barker was dead and is not, which, by the way,
he still alive?
Thank God, because I hope that guy, I mean, Larry King, true gangster, heavy RIP on that one.
Yeah.
But Barker in the same boat where you're like, I haven't seen him for a hot minute. I felt they would have maybe done some sort of Price is Right special where he comes back to pop out, but there's a reason for that. I bet
He
he's
got
not
Me Too'd.
He's not in shit.
Yeah, he did
Bob
get
Barker
Me
got
Too'd.
Me Too?
Yeah.
No. He got
I don't know why I was so surprised by that.
the Showcase
You know what I'm
Showdown
saying?
girls. Yeah.
Wait, this older, cool guy was around all these hot girls and kept his hands to himself?
Yeah.
No, of course. Yeah.
Keep your
Never
pets
gonna
spayed and neutered, by the way.
I met Bob Barker, sidebar.
No shit.
Stood behind Bob Barker and did the robot while I was high and drunk at a taping of The Price is Right. Went with a group from my fraternity, A Pi USC. If you go with 20 people or more, you're guaranteed to have one person get on contestants row, right?
Correct. What university?
USC.
Oh,
in
no
LA.
shit.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So we go, and it was the prime time. Price is Right did these prime time shows, and they, I think, just did a new batch of these. But it was Bob Barker, Rod Roddy, R.I.P. was still alive.
Oh, yeah.
Who was, I mean, dude, just made the cool sequins jacket like acceptable.
Yeah.
And it was 8:30 at night instead of 11 a.m. So the prizes, because it was prime time, you know, usually out of the gate it was like, here's a new fucking 30-inch plasma, and then a dinette set.
Yeah.
Out of the gate it was like Escalade, fucking blowjobs in the Escalade, you know, fucking every toaster strudel for the rest of your life, like just crazy prizes that you didn't think you wanted. Trips right out of the gate.
Yeah.
So we go, and it's the energy, by the way, unreal. Like, I'm
Electric.
sure it's still great. But, dude, getting the Barker Price is Right energy, I'm sure it's comparable
Who
to
hosts it now? Is it still
Drew Carey.
It's
Which,
Drew
and he's
Carey.
fine.
I love Drew Carey.
Yeah, he's great. And
I watched that doc on him snitching on the guy who kept showing back up to the prices right. I'm an anti Drew Carey Price
Wait,
is Right
what?
guy.
oh, the
What
kid
happened
who,
Yeah,
that's
I
a good
watched that and I
doc.
was like, fuck you, Drew Carey. You're rich as fuck. What do you care if somebody's coming on
Yeah.
trying to win cars?
for sure.
Fucking
Probably just
cocksucker.
the fact that he was now in the Price is Right family felt like he was getting
Fuck him.
taken advantage
Yeah,
of. Yeah,
I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
R.I.P. to his girlfriend who got thrown off a fucking building.
That was crazy.
Crazy.
Yeah.
But
and if you do get thrown off a building and you happen to have your life saved, hopefully it's on a ghost bed mattress. These guys are coming in hot.
5 stories you can drop your girlfriend from and
Nope.
she'll survive.
Nope.
Okay.
Nope.
That is not the Ghost Lux.
Nope.
Probably not the classic mattress, but maybe the Ghost Lux.
Nope.
So when you were on there, did you win?
We're gonna get sued again.
Adam's like, yo, dude, I will never have a career again after this
man.
show. What's did you win the fucking prize or what'd you do?
So I went. I rushed the stage because our buddy only had one shot to get on, and he didn't make it. And well, he got on, but he was the last. He had one opportunity. You know,
Yeah.
you hope to get called right out of the gate, so you can have several chances to guess the right amount. But he had one chance, and he got $1, and it was like really fucked because you got 30, plus drunk Jews just, trying to help in a pricing game, which joke writes itself. And we're all there screaming obnoxiously, like just for our buddy, like, fucking $11.89. Look at me, Matt, look at me, $11.89, you son of a bitch. And then this tiny Filipino woman who'd been there for like the last 3 rounds. Could feel us all screaming, and it was like out of a movie, dude. We're all fucked up, and he turns around, he gets surprised, turns around, okay, $11.89, Bob, and we're like, yeah. And then he goes to the gal that's there, her name's Karen, and Karen, what's the price? And she slowly like just turns back at us, and there was this like stomach drop, like in the pit of your stomach, where you're like, what? And then she just turns back and she goes, $1, Bob, and we were like, no. And then she won, and he didn't get to go up. So we're sitting there being like, what a waste of a day. And my buddy's like, yo, for the Showcase Showdown, you should rush the stage. And I was like, dude, that is it. Well, I'll do it. And so I'm sitting there on the edge of the aisle, and there was this big black dude named Daron and this little, probably 70-plus-year-old adorable gal named Ethel. And Daron wins a ton of shit, Escalade, trips, you name it. And my buddy just pushes me out of my seat. Because I was just like, what? He's like, go, you got to go now. Pushes me out. I run down. So I get to, for a quick minute, even though I'm rushing to the stage and thinking like, I'm getting arrested. This is going to be awful. But I still had enough wherewithal to be like, I'm running down the aisle. I'm coming on down. So for a brief minute, I was just dreaming I was getting my name called.
Yeah.
And then I rushed to the bottom of the stairs. And there's a security guard at the top of the stairs on the stage you can't see on TV. I run up the stairs, and she's right there off camera, and she just goes, whoa, where are you going? And I just go, that's my best friend in the whole world. And she just goes, all right. Lets me by.
No way.
I run on stage. I'm hugging his friends. I grabbed him. I was rubbing his bald head at one point, sat in his Escalade and did a fucking, and he's won so much shit, so he's just on cloud nine.
Yeah.
Only at the very end did he look at me and be like, did you just rush up here? I was like, yeah. He's like, that's fucking dope. I look down on my buddies. They're just fucking clapping like can't believe I'm up there.
Did it
nobody
make it
else,
to air?
Oh, yeah. There's a clip. So I've told this story, not in my act ever, but I did it for one show at the Improv and actually put in the clip at the very end because I started doing the robot behind Bob Barker.
Is it on YouTube?
So if you go to type in Adam Ray Price is Right, at the very end, there's a clip of me just giving a double thumbs up behind Bob.
If you can find that clip, Hot Bob, that would be an MVP move.
Should be right there. I mean, you can skip through the whole, there it is.
The second one down?
Oh, it's that one. So skip through the whole story to the end because that's when the clip, you'll see when I play the clip at the very end. Okay, here it is.
There it is. Oh, look at Roddy, dude.
Oh, wait. Scroll maybe a little bit more.
Look
I think I'm still telling the story.
How much time do you think
There
that
it
man
is, right?
spent in strip clubs?
There it is.
Okay,
There we
so this
go.
is the very end. The kid won. Bob's doing his
Is this
closing
on the screen
remarks.
right now? Great. Oh, look at Bob.
So there's me. Yeah. And then wait.
Who's the guy next to you? Is he a fraternity brother?
No, nobody else. It was just me. Anyway, watch. And then there's one great shot at the very end.
Wow, look at this. Was the golden age right there. That was the best.
But dude, people were going nuts. Here we go, right here. Boom. Double thumbs up coming at you.
Oh, there it is.
Just high as
Full
balls.
Jew, by the way. That is exactly what every Jew in college.
Oh, a nice little fro.
What was your frat?
AE Pie.
Yeah.
Nicknamed like AE High because,
Obviously.
just
Which
so much
school did you
pie.
go to?
5 foot bong.
He went to USC. They always had
okay.
Jewish fraternities always had the best drugs. You guys had everything.
Because they're good business people, man. Shit.
I know.
And, dude,
They're
the
not
weed-
buying swag weed and
I know.
fucking dumb kerosene coke.
Oh man,
Best drugs
and our
then.
parties ruled. And I'll say this too: we had some brilliant kids in the house that were huge potheads that have gone on to do some insane shit. Where I was like, man, I could. There's a kid who would hit the 5 foot bong and then go to class and like ace these tests and come back. And I'm like, I don't know how you manage living in both worlds, but
Yep.
it's impressive.
Yeah,
I live like that. Yeah, it's
I was there during the golden age of
It's
SC
actually the
football,
only
too.
way I can live.
Oh, you were
Yeah.
there 05, Lionheart and all those guys, Reggie Bush?
Dude, so I got there in 01, which is when Pete came in.
Mm-hmm.
And so we had I had 2 years of Carson. So
Oh yeah.
and then
Carson
2 years
Palmer.
of Lionheart when I was there, and Bush, and I was there for
man.
one shared championship and 2 regular ones. And then the year I
Were you
graduated
there 05 when
I graduated in 05.
Vince Young ran
So
that? That was still, in my opinion, that's the greatest college football game of all time.
Wait, 05 is the
No
one they had to
question.
give
Yeah.
back, right?
Well, later
which-
on, but
yeah.
I don't give a fuck about that. That was when
No,
Vince Young ran it in 4th
2 years
and
before
3.
we won, we had to give back.
Oh, okay. I see.
yeah.
05 would have been, and it's why Lionheart came back because you win that. I don't know if any college has three-peated. Have they? That was going to be a big deal.
Not in a long time.
yeah.
It would have been like back in the like.
Yeah,
the
it was
50s
a crazy.
or-
It would have been a crazy feat. And look, I mean, there's probably room to go back and say he should have left his junior year when he had a just insane year.
Well,
But-
here's the thing. So I was in LA then.
He would have at least
and
gotten paid.
yeah.
I was in LA then. Those guys, I would see them at like all of the fucking top clubs and all that shit. When they were in college, they were treated like professional athletes on Sunset. So it was just like, dude, why leave that? All those guys were fucking the Kardashians, and one of them, I think it was Lionheart. It was nailing.
I love that
Kristen
that's like
Cavallari.
that's a sign of like you made it. Like,
Well,
but it kind of is. It's because just
is.
to be in that family, right?
Yes, dude. I mean, that's you don't
You're
give up on
definitely
something
you're not
like
pulling
that.
out ever.
We say this all the time. Find a Kardashian. Don't pull out. You're
Get her
rich for
pregnant,
life.
yeah.
You're good to go. Wow. You're
I
good
don't know
to
if
go
I could
on
do
that.
it, man. That
yes,
just
you
seems
could
like-
do that. You could absolutely do that.
If I knew, which I
Think of your struggle years, right? When you had nothing. Now imagine if you just didn't pull out once and had one kid with one of them.
Wow.
Would you trade it in? Yes or no?
yeah, I mean, I don't. I mean, which one though? Now we got to figure out
Doesn't
which
matter. I'd fucking any of
The
them.
mom,
dude.
I don't give a shit.
Yes.
one. Oh, wow.
Even
yeah.
Kris Jenner at 63 or 62 looks.
Yeah, she just seems a
fantastic.
little like she seems bossy. Like I don't want to be engaging in anything
You don't
sexual with someone
actually
who's
have
telling me
to-
like suck it harder.
All
I'm
you
like,
have to
suck what?
do is shoot one load, my man. That's it, and you're rich for life.
Yeah, they do. I do.
Do you have morals? Are we going to get
Oh,
into
yeah.
that?
Yeah.
No shit.
But I mean, not.
I would
mean,
never have guessed that.
But based on
You
but
do look
what-
like a dirtbag, yeah.
Yes, you look like a fucking dirtbag.
Oh, dude, I'm a mama's boy. Fucking,
Well, that's
So your mom would have been really pissed off about it.
she would have been like, "Are you happy? Did she make you happy?" You know, and would have guilted me with that.
But when you FaceTime her from the yacht, you'd be like, yeah, I am, Mom. So fuck off.
Yeah.
You know,
Here's
Sal,
our
OJ's here.
Armenian kids. Yes.
You know Sal from Impractical Jokers?
Oh, he's a dear friend of mine.
Yeah, he's like that too, a total mama's boy.
Yeah. Oh, that's
and
why
they
we
fuck with him on the show about it.
Of course, he's a sweetheart. Yeah, I mean, look, I've done some crazy shit. But
Any shot of being Me Too'd?
Oh, 1,000% no. And it take a lot of pride, thankfully, in just always conducting myself the right way. And
It's
because
really
a
not
lot
that
of that
goddamn difficult, is it?
I've had a lot of fucking friends, and like, dude, because I came out the day after the thing happened to Callen, right? Brian Callen. I've known Callen for 20 years. That story was fucking bullshit, and I went on air and publicly said, dude, I don't fucking believe this.
Yeah. I mean, look, I think, Callen's a great dude. I don't know him like that. I know him as being a great dude, as kind with his time, somewhat of a, helpful mentor in certain instances with business questions. Nobody knows anybody's shit behind the sheets like that.
It's true.
And so,
Yeah.
but based
still,
on, but I'm the same way, like based on what I know about him and his character. But with me, it's like, yeah, man, I'm coming from a place with a mom like that was just, didn't ever say too, like, all right, work hard in school, take your dick out only when they ask for it. But it was just kind of like just based on who she was and growing up in that and kind of having a good sense of right and wrong. And also, I was pretty timid for a while with gals up until probably end of high school into college, and always had like a timid approach to it.
Right.
So to, even with girls that I had, hook up, flings with, it was always like, I want to be cool and not become best friends, but just make sure that we're both on the same page.
Yeah, everybody's having a good time.
And so that's why I take pride in the fact that, I mean, quite honestly, most of the people that gals that I've had things like that with, still friends with.
You
Some
couldn't
that are
even
not
say
because
the
they're now-
word sex.
What's that?
You
say
couldn't
sex.
even say the word sex.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
said girls have had things like that with you.
I mean, do you want me to
get
tell you some
graphic.
threesome stories on a New Kids on the Block
Yes.
concert cruise? I mean, what are we doing?
Were you really on a new NKOTB cruise?
Yeah, man. Joey Mack is a good buddy of mine.
I would have definitely
I opened
gone.
for him twice, and that is just a shit show.
We've done 850 shows here. I've never had one guest that says Joey McIntyre is one of my B-fries.
Is one of my what?
Best friends.
Yeah.
Like, that's
Oh, yeah.
fucking crazy, dude.
Yeah,
How?
awesome.
Can you imagine being on that cruise though? It's you and the band. And
Everybody's fucking.
Dude,
women.
It was crazy, and in a good way. They got fans for life, spanning the gamut. There were girls there in their 20s, there were girls there in their 30s, 40s, and they're diehard. And some are there because they've been fans since they were kids, and some are there because they're like, this is a fun thing to go on and a nice backdrop to have a vacation for, right?
Yeah.
But Joey and I were in the movie The Heat, and I was at the premiere party in New York, and I saw him. I was about to go home to do shows in Seattle, and I was going to take my sister to the show because she's
Huge fan.
Huge fan.
Yeah.
Kids working all the time, never gets to do shit. So I was like, I'm gonna come back and take her. So I go up to Joey at the end of the night, and I was like, yo, I'm coming to Seattle next week. I'm bringing my sister. Any fucking way, and we chummed it up a little bit prior to that, but I was like, any fucking way that like I could bring her back. And he was like, dude, not only can you bring her back, he's like, fuck your tickets, I'll get you better tickets, bring more people if you want. And then he's a big comedy fan, so in LA he'd come to all my shows, which was also like a nice break for him away from to get some get away from the kids and whatnot, which he's great dad and all that. He'd bring his great wife out. Then he had a show. I played his manager on it. It was like loosely based on his life. And
Oh yes, the
Return
recent
of the
one.
Mac.
Yeah.
And guys don't need much to bond. It's like, do you like sports? Yeah. Do you breathe air? Dude, fucking every day. You don't like Nickelback, do you? Let's get a beer. Like it's just, we need minimal info. And that's kind of how it was. And then I think he liked that I was kind of as into the comedy world too, which you just assume people at that level, you can go to a show whenever you want. It's extra cool when they can go with somebody these clubs are their home. They can go where they want to go.
And they get to see you perform.
Yeah, they see you perform, but they feel like comfortable. They don't have to like wander around aimlessly and feel like, you know what I'm saying? Just have like a chaperone or a tour guide for them. So then we just, and now we're trying to sell another show, and he's just a great dude, man. And yeah, I've been to countless shows, and it's bonkers, dude. I mean, they're all still vocally and in shape, so it's like, you're like, well, you did your part as far as keeping your shit intact so that when the fans come and they do these arena tours, you're like, Jesus Christ. And it's funny, I'll bust his balls because they're literally at points in the songs like thrusting and dry humping the air. And I'm just looking around and women are going berserk. And you're like, good for you.
It's
dude.
difficult for me to imagine after Blue Bloods, Donnie Wahlberg fucking dancing and singing pop music.
Yeesh.
Like it just doesn't. I don't know how it's going to register in my mind if I see that.
It's hard because he looks real old.
Well, I mean, he just looks like a tough guy. He doesn't like he's
Right. Yeah,
but like a 55-year-old, like hey, like a hard.
Well, he is 51.
It's a different beast. Yeah, I mean, it's
how old is Donnie? The Hot Bob. Look up how old Donnie is.
WAH.
And I like how he went back to later on in life and married like his
Yeah,
dream
he's
girl
51.
from the 90s.
I don't know why I knew. Why did I know
Crushing
that?
it. I don't know.
Why do I know how old Donnie Wahlberg is? That's weird.
Don't
Good for you,
know,
dude.
But hey, speaking
you remember you've just got this wall of Wahlberg facts.
yeah, he's a huge Wahlberg fan.
Have you been to Wahlburgers?
No, no.
Oh yeah. I tried it out to give it a test run. It's a fine burger. It's a playable burger.
That's a cool move too to open a like I always
There
think
he
about.
is. Is that
what would
him
I-
currently? Oh, 2013. Jesus Christ.
Even then.
He's still
No,
shredded.
but they're dude. But
Oh,
see,
he's
they do
always
this
shredded.
shit. So yeah, they're always. Look,
Always
you're a
dancing,
Wahlberg,
yeah.
dude. You can't be a Wahlberg and not. Joey's doing my dance moves right there.
Yeah,
you
not
can't be a
very-
Wahlberg and not have fucking
a shredded physique.
a shredded trap.
I get it, man.
It's a different
All right,
beast, man.
all
And
right,
also,
all right.
dude, the money they make from these tours, why would you not keep doing it?
Yeah.
Give me
No,
a
so
break.
by the way, pre-COVID, top 10 highest grossing tours.
Yeah.
I mean, they are just raking in cash because they joined up with Backstreet Boys to do that arena tour.
Yeah.
So both of them played together, and it's just panties. I mean, that's
Panty
all it
City,
is,
man. Yeah.
Still to this day.
And look, dude, I mean, you know, every dude at some point has fantasized about being a rock star, whether it's that or on stage shredding on the guitar. But I mean, did you guys have an instrument? Do you play instruments first of all?
No,
Yeah, I do,
no.
yeah.
I played triangle for maybe 6 years, but
Hilarious. I think you're
lost
joking,
it.
but I'm not totally
No,
sure.
Lost it. Yeah.
You're-
never
You
played the
said
triangle.
that with so much sincerity that I was like, what? And I also didn't believe it, but I met myself halfway being like, please let it be true. Please cut to a clip of you in the 7th grade being like,
Hot Bob,
and your mom
find
being
it.
like,
There it is.
Oh no,
Dude,
it
play this
wasn't.
song?
It wasn't the 7th grade.
Here
That
comes
was-
the Reaper.
That was in college.
Play
Actually.
that.
The
Yeah.
triangle, there's a place for that. Wait, so what instrument would you have
No,
played?
you went to Ohio State on a full triangle scholarship.
Full triangle
Yeah.
scholarship at Ohio State. Yeah.
Dude, at SC, there
Very
was
good.
the baton girl that would come out.
Oh, that's
Yes,
true.
yes.
That is
Full
true.
scholarship, I didn't know.
That is
Yes,
true.
yes.
And I mean, just for in between timeouts come out, or at the beginning when the Trojan horse would come out and everyone's going nuts. And then it was one extra spectacle where she was like, fucking, and doing it. And you're like, you'd watch it every now and then, but then you're like, and then my buddy's like, yeah, she's here on a full ride. And I was like, I fucking.
It's
fucked
amazing.
up.
It's
At
amazing.
USC, I mean, even back then, that was expensive.
Do you have a story about the baton girl?
NCAA Division I wrestling still doesn't get enough scholarships to cover the whole team. So I just want the fans to know that.
Yeah,
the
they don't
baton
deserve
girl
it
gets
either.
one.
You gotta-
Well,
you
when you
gotta
see the
think-
baton girl,
When you see the baton girl.
Yeah,
no, but in
that's
all
a-
sincerity,
that's
when
actually
you
a really good point.
Yes, when you see a baton girl at a game, all you're hoping for is for her to drop it. So you're like, oh, drop it.
No, I wanted to-
drop it. That's worth an extra wrestling scholarship.
I wanted
You
to
do
slip
want her
through
to
her
drop it.
hands
Yeah,
and go
so
down through her
fucked.
eyeball and through her whole body. That's
The
what I
whole
wanna see.
thing,
Well,
dude.
that's
Yeah.
aggressive, but I think that there's okay, but no, we do. And that's just I think a very American thing where it's like the same way what you get off on the
Drop
bad
it.
American Idol auditions. Everyone's seeing there, watching her, being like, just fucking one time. Because she'll go at the very end, toss it
Yeah, it's
way
like
up,
way the fuck up
do
there.
900 spins.
Yep.
And then you're just like, just fucking
Drop
let it.
it.
But I do hear you. You're like, yeah, either dropping it isn't
Like
as
some
fun
Final
as it just hitting her in
Destination
the
shit,
head.
Yeah.
On the wrestling thing, don't you think it would be a good idea for Dana White, UFC in general, to start getting involved in that situation? Because that's kind of like their farm system right now.
Involved in what?
In the fact that most universities don't have enough scholarships for their wrestling team, because that's where a great deal of our current stars
crop
from,
come
yeah.
from, right?
Comes from, yeah.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
would think you would want to do something. Maybe
Well, it's the Title IX. It's not lack of funds. It's the lack of the NCAA to allow them to.
Title IX.
It's I will say this.
Yeah.
It's also lack of caring. When you go to a school like a big school, not once at Ohio State I was like, man, it's Friday night. What do I want to do? Man, I'd love to get fucking rocked and go see dudes on top of other dudes fucking wrestling.
You see, in Oklahoma, they do.
Yeesh.
Wait, why don't they get rid of wrestling in college and just make it MMA? You know what I mean? What's the point of having wrestling
now
in college?
that I could get into. That I could
college
get into.
MMA
MMA in college?
Yeah, why not?
Too violent, probably.
No,
That's-
there's fencing and boxing and shit
Yeah.
like that.
Is fencing violent?
Hockey.
Well, not really. It can't be. There's hockey
well,
though.
If you switch out if you give them live swords, like real swords.
Yeah, they're not going to do
It's
that.
actually a
The
great
point-
idea.
the
Right?
point of-
Start grooming them in college because
Yeah.
then people could
Yeah.
go to college for it.
Like these guys, instead of sleeping in their fucking cars and working shitty jobs to pay for the gym,
Yeah.
they could go get an education.
I dig that.
Right, and then turn their fucking shit into a brand later. And if they don't succeed, they've got an education now. They could be a useful member of society and not a fucking,
Correct.
whatever the fuck.
Because it's like softball. My wife was great at softball, right? And I was like, what were your hopes and dreams after college? She's like, there wasn't any. That's why I didn't play in
Yeah,
college.
that sucks.
So I was like, all right, cool. Same with wrestling. Unless you're going into WWE or the UFC, what's the 4 years for? You're on top of other dudes. You're fucking constantly losing weight. You're not eating. You might have cauliflower ears like Giorgio here.
Yeah, Free
Giorgio,
education.
you're going to have to squat down so the audience can see here for that camera. But
There is a thing called the Olympics, Ross, and people
Right.
do like
How much-
further-
how much
but
does that pay you?
professional softball, like I'm sure, did she want to do that?
No.
She didn't want to
How
do
much does Olympics pay you for wrestling?
Nothing.
Yeah. Yep. There you go. So as far as making money at any of these sports, you're
Yeah.
kind of just it's a fun hobby, but pick up a different hobby.
yeah, but it's good.
Yeah.
It's good for the economy to turn hobbies into careers, right?
It is.
It's very good for the economy.
Well, when you
because
see how
it's-
much money it brings in too,
Yeah.
it
Oh,
would
dude.
behoove you to start it earlier,
By
right?
the
Right.
way, speaking of money, the fucking craziest story of all time was today about this GameStop stock. Did you see this shit?
No.
Holy fuck, dude. I lost my mind today
Wall
over
Street
this.
bets, baby.
Dude. So on Reddit, everybody went on there and told everyone to buy GameStop,
Yeah.
the video game place.
Oh, yeah.
So a lot of
Always a line.
regular Wall Street people are shorting GameStop, obviously.
Yep.
Like AMC, GameStop, any company that's kind of going under almost. And
It was
it's
down to
just-
what? How many dollars a share?
$4.
$4. Today, during the market, it got as high as $140, I
Yeah.
believe.
Solely
And they-
off a community, off
The
like a
New York
subreddit.
Stock Exchange had to turn it off to try to figure out what was going on. It turned out there was a subreddit where everybody had gotten together and like, fuck it. All these people are shorting GameStop. Let's all buy it at once. And then it drove from $4 to $140. Everybody who shorted it lost $1.6 billion today. CNBC actually had to cut into their live feed today on air and be like, you guys, we got to talk about GameStop. This is the craziest story of all
Jim
time.
Cramer was pro Wall Street bets.
Yes.
Yeah.
And now it's like, dude, could you tell all your friends with like the biggest social media followings? I think about like you and Rogan and all these guys. Like if all of us podcasters got together and we said, all right, we're going to buy one stock. And it's something shitty too, like a fucking rain jacket company.
AMC. I actually just bought stock in AMC, so go ahead and
Well,
buy that stock as well. We're gonna-
unless it becomes a subreddit.
No, it's the same thing. It's the same thing.
AMC is out of money right now.
what
There
a
will be no
bummer.
theaters left here in about
It's not like
16
GameStop
days.
did anything. GameStop did
They did
nothing.
but they're still open. AMC is not even open right now. Is the problem? So
Save the movie theaters. Buy
even
AMC
right
stock.
now. So like, dude, you're at 76, 79. Like, you're still having a fucking rad day if you bought that today.
Right. No, I
Holy
agree,
Shit.
but-
I couldn't believe that. Where it's just like, all right, cool. So my question to you was, and you guys as well.
Sure.
If you all got together and said, all right, we're going to buy this one stock in this one day so we can all get rich, what can you do to stop it? The government can't do anything to stop that
It's
shit.
a loophole right now, but the SEC is going to crack down eventually.
Yeah.
Portnoy does the same thing with Penn stock,
Mm-hmm.
where he just hypes up Penn, and it.
Well, Penn owns Barstool. They
Yeah.
own a third of Barstool.
Yeah. But it's the same kind of thing. Like he'll say like, "Hey, I have nothing to do with this," and then kind of like tell you to buy Penn.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah,
Man, craziest
there's
shit of all time.
That is market manipulation is you know.
Are you guys for more coffee?
Yeah.
No.
Big time.
Get
Thank
him
you.
fucking liquor. Are you performing tonight?
Yes.
Where at?
Anton's.
Anton. Okay, tell everybody where. This is live, so you can
Oh,
tell
great.
everybody where. Yeah.
Anton's. It's the Kill Tony show. Tony Hinchcliffe's
Oh, great.
open mic, roaster helper show.
Yeah.
And then when I come back to Austin, though, I'll be
Pour
doing-
him hard liquor then. We want him to, I mean,
Oh
absolutely.
man, let me knock this audition out after, and then I'll do it. I gotta fucking keep the acting juice going.
Yeah.
But
So Tony moved here, right?
Tony moved here. Rogan's here. Tom Segura, I just heard is gonna
They're
move
on the
here.
way, yeah.
I heard they bought a house, yeah.
Yeah, but I'm coming back to do the Vulcan Gas Company March 26th and 27th, which is a dope spot, which I think they're trying to somehow get that into just comedy, which is a good move because I don't know if you've been there. It's
great. Great
you know,
venue.
It's great, and I was real taken aback by because Moon Tower. I've been down here for that big comedy festival a handful of times, and it's awesome. And they have a bunch of great venues, and I'd never seen that one in the mix. And And so it's if they can get it into comedy shape, which it's already pretty much there, it'll be a great spot for people to go to. It's just like got a little balcony, and the stage is great, and even if you just fill the bottom, it's got a good vibe to it, and the sound's good. So,
well, lucky for you, LA might be opening up soon. There is a rumor that Gavin Newsom, as of tomorrow, will open everything up.
Well, he's going back to the
California tomorrow.
The
by the way,
phases.
Well, he doesn't have a choice because he's getting recalled. So it's like, hey,
well, he's
man.
lifting the stay-at-home shit, but I have a feeling that's going to be more for NorCal and less for SoCal because we have like shortage of hospital. But LA is just in worse shape.
It's fucked.
So I don't think that there's. I still feel like, you know, a couple of my friends' bands, and you guys probably have some people in this world that can attest to it, have told me very candidly that 2022 is when they are going to, when they've been told it's going to happen.
Correct.
So for comedy, you see there's a handful of clubs opening, and like, you know, here, Arizona, Florida, St. Louis, a few other Midwest spots that are either at some capacity, or Florida just being like, we're guns
Florida's
blazing.
YOLO. I was just in Miami 2 weeks ago. They don't give a fuck.
They don't.
I was at Rogan and Chappelle. We took all the office there to Rogan and Chappelle at Stubbs. Had to go through the tents like fucking horses and all that shit.
Yeah.
Dan said, I'm not dealing with that. It was probably a smart move on your part. I mean, they go full COVID test.
There's nobody.
You have to get the results.
There's nobody that I would go through all that for.
Right.
Not anybody on this planet.
Oh, really? Not even?
one.
Oh, man.
Nope.
We enjoyed ourselves and it was fucking awesome. But
Yeah, I was supposed to do the show on Saturday, but then it got. But
So what was the point, I guess, of doing all of that if Chappelle got COVID?
Well, here's
the point of doing what?
all the testing.
all the
and
testing
shit.
outside because
But
you get
here's-
there like 2 hours
But
early.
here's the point. Here's the point. People aren't getting it we saw from this Nashville data that came out in October, right? That the mayor and his chief of staff were intentionally hiding the fact that 1.4% came from bars and restaurants.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't that. It's at people at home. That's where it's happening, right?
I think
people,
Chappelle just parties.
and
that's
that,
it.
it's the same thing that California is saying right now. It's the same thing that SF Gate that I talked about on Fake News last week.
Yeah.
Lori Lightfoot in Chicago. All these people are like, you know what? We were wrong. But they didn't say we're wrong. Like, we've got to open this back up.
Yeah.
We've got to for the economy and everything. And they're like, well, we said that whole time, fuckface. Like,
Well,
you
Chappelle
ruined so many people's livelihoods. 700,000 fucking privately owned businesses are now closed forever.
Yeah.
Forever.
But the beauty is Chappelle got it from Elon Musk, and that's a fucking baller move.
You know that for sure?
Yeah. So Grimes had it. His wife or fiance or whatever they're calling themselves. I don't even know what the kid's name is still.
Yeah.
A lot of dashes, a lot of letters. Not a lot of words in
Yeah.
it.
Wait, his kid's name is what?
Put that spelling up on screen. It's ampersand sign, maybe an at symbol in there.
Wait, no way.
Archangel.
No way.
There
That's his
you
kid's
go.
name?
Yep, that's the kid's name right there. So that's how
But
you
you
spell
said
it.
Grimes.
Yes. So Elon Musk had the baby with Grimes. Him, Elon Musk, Grimes, and obviously Chappelle and Rogan and Ron White were partying backstage the other night. She posted on January 9th that she had COVID, and she was like, it feels like a fever dream. I'm just kind of in a NyQuil haze right now, and it's all a blast. And then magically they show up backstage at the Chappelle show. Nobody's wearing masks. So everyone is speculating that.
So maybe he didn't have it yet because. So I went to the camp he had in Yellow Springs, Ohio this summer, and
Oh shit! How was that, dude?
unbelievable, dude. It was, I mean, Tiffany Haddish, Common, Louis, Sarah Silverman, John Mayer. Every weekend there was a new crop of.
Is he like on a commune down there or some shit?
So
He's
from
Yellow
DC.
Springs is out in the
South-
it's
out in the-
farm.
yeah,
boonies,
Southern Ohio especially has like 3 different hippie communes.
It's a real cute town.
nobody knows
and,
about that.
There's only one bar, one convenience store. I've been there.
Yeah, real sweet. And he set up at this outdoor pavilion, these outdoor shows. But dude, they were diligent. And I mean, they were doing it all summer. I came in July, and I think they started in May, and they went up until October. And they had one positive test the whole time. And dude, they were, comics like myself coming through, and then there were just homies of theirs coming through, and they had a bubble situation going on, and it was on point. So there was no real carelessness, So that's why it was pretty shocking that this happened. But look, even in any bubble that I guess opens itself up to more people like this, then there's chance of somebody. You're also rolling the dice a little bit with the honor system because you're just hoping that, all right, people in that bubble are trying to protect everybody else. And
Right.
so,
But if you get COVID from Elon Musk, it's kind of rad. Where it's just like, hey man, how'd you get
pretty
COVID,
cool.
Elon Musk?
Yeah.
There's nobody better right now, in my opinion. Like,
It's- yeah, it's like-
if you ask me, hey man, how do you want to get COVID? Elon Musk.
For sure. He's probably got a cooler strain. It's like getting free tickets to a Huey Lewis in the News show from Huey's wife.
Yeah, it's got a
right.
It's got a cool,
R.I.P.
Yeah.
R.I.P. to Huey.
Oh, no, we still got him. We still got him.
Do we?
How dare you assume that Huey has checked out?
I think it was the news that died.
Yikes, too soon. Too soon.
Check it. I think somebody
The
from the
news died a long
has
time
died.
ago. I'll tell you this much. The news has been dead forever.
My understanding is they're remaking American Psycho. Speaking of Huey Lewis
Yeah,
in the news.
yeah.
And who's playing Bateman?
Who knows? They'll get a trans, probably like Laverne Cox or something. You're still auditioning and shit all the time.
Yeah. I was in LA shooting this HBO Max show, and Young Rock comes out February 16th, and I'm a big part of that.
One of my old agents called me and he goes, "Hey man, if you're a white male now," he goes, "Man, you got maybe a 4% chance to get a lead in something these days." I died laughing. I was like,
I don't know. I mean, tougher for sure because everything has leaned. There's just a role that I might go in for or be up for. They'll just be like, "Oh, cool. We like this type and we like what's happening, but we need diversity." You know, and so they're much more cognizant of that. So that might get in the way. But
would you ever do a 3-camera sitcom?
1,000%. Oh my God, that's
a lot of money.
Dream. Yeah, and it's like as a comic,
As a quick-witted comic, that's kind of your
dude.
wheelhouse,
I've done a few
right?
guest stars on those, and they were, the best. And the hours rule, and look, there's, some of the really great sitcoms are few and far between, but yeah, 1,000%. And the live audience thing when I was doing it was so great because you're already so comfortable from stand-up that having that is great. When I was doing the Mad TV reboot, that was, we had tape days with a live audience, and that was awesome. But yeah, a 3-camera shoot would be the best. Single camera, I think, I just prefer that better because I think there's just I like the comedy to be a little more grounded, But yeah, it's I think the opportunities are maybe a little more sparse, but there's the fact that they're even up and running with productions is great, because when we went to Australia, Young Rock was supposed to film, I believe, in LA or Atlanta, but things were kind of halted for who knows when. So they were like, well, you can start in Australia right now. So that's why we went there. And,
are you a series regular on that?
I mean, I'm a guest star in the first season, but I can't say who I'm playing, but he's a very prominent guy in The Rock's wrestling career, and you probably can put it together. But
is his dad?
Was that?
His dad. Are you playing his dad?
I'm playing his left nut, but it's
You're gonna play his dad in
shave my head.
blackface.
No, it's I'll tell you when we stop rolling. But if the show goes for more, which
It will,
I
by the
can't
way.
see,
The Rock, they fucking love The Rock.
most
They'll give it a
likable guy.
season. They'll give it a season.
It's also NBC. He had Titan Games for them, which crushed.
Yep.
And the story is so great, and it's like this great family comedy, and seeing the wrestling stuff played out down there with these guys who are playing, because he almost had like a Pauly Shore type thing where Pauly was growing up around the store and around all these legends. Dwayne was around with his pops being a wrestler, all these greats, and so he got a real taste of it at a young age, and it's really cool to see that stuff played out in a show. So I'm just like, man, how would you not want to get to the WrestleMania stuff and just where you really get to relive all that shit?
Jake the Snake Roberts. Are you playing Jake the Snake?
No.
Okay.
Again, I'll tell you off air, but it's pretty dope. He's never been portrayed before. And,
Hacksaw Jim Duggan.
What's that?
Hacksaw Jim Duggan.
Close.
Iron
No.
Sheik.
No.
I'm kidding.
Oh my
I'm
God.
kidding.
Iron Sheik's in it though.
Is he really?
Yeah.
The real guy or R.I.P.?
No, he's still alive and he's got a crazy Twitter account.
He's on Twitter. Yeah, he tweeted at me something for something I posted, and I was like, oh, I didn't even know
He
followed
tells
me.
everybody to go fuck themselves on Twitter.
Does he?
Iron Sheik.
That's hilarious.
He's got
That's
a massive
Why?
following.
Just for fun or what?
Yeah. And he's built this fuck you and fuck
Yeah.
everything.
That's fun. Are you a big wrestling fan?
I was growing up, and then I think I dropped off a little bit. But I've always been it's one of those things you just kind of have on in the background where and you have enough friends around me that
It's
that are big wrestlers.
Soap operas for men, basically. Is what it is.
The chicks are better than the dudes. There's no personality with the dudes anymore. Once Cena
Back in the
left-
day was pretty crazy.
Yeah.
When you
The
do go
90s,
back and
man.
look, the 90s.
Jesus Christ.
Oh, man, it was amazing. And I've been to a few Raws since then. And again, like I said with hockey, it's going to it live for me is just way cooler.
Right.
And I was able to appreciate the theatrics of it when you see it live in the flesh and the chants. And it was cool. And I was like, oh, I get it. And I mean, dude, I had a fucking play set with the ring and the guys, and I think there was a stuffed animal, like a Hulk doll, or maybe it was all the wrestlers they sold that you could pretend to body slam and shit.
Oh, yeah.
What was that
I had
called?
one of those.
Yeah, what was the name of it?
I don't remember.
I don't.
pulling it up?
It's a giant stuffed.
There was a name for
Pull up the stuffed Hogan.
Stuffed Hogan. Just type that in.
Yeah, pre-N word.
His
by
sex
the way,
tape comes
'cause
up.
We don't want to. Yeah, exactly. I think you beat me by a half a second on
The whole,
that
not the
one.
plush toy. There. Wait.
Wrestling
yeah.
buddies?
Wrestling buddies.
That's it. Yeah, the wrestling buddies.
God bless you.
Like this guy right here. Look at that.
Yeah.
that.
Was it just Wrestling Buddy?
Uh,
Pillow Buddy? Fuck. What the fuck was it called? There was like an actual.
Yeah,
Wrestling buddies is one that
It
I
was
saw
like
pop
that.
up.
That's what I had,
Yeah.
but it was bigger. Yeah, I don't know what the name of it was, but
A genius idea though, because I mean the commercial
great.
with these kids just body slamming
them around.
and your mom knocks on the door. What are you doing in there, Cameron? I'm trying to win a fucking belt, Mom.
Yeah.
Quit cock blocking my friendship.
By the way, type in real quick the Freddie
Quit
Highmore
cursing,
doctor
Cameron.
show.
There it is.
There
Oh
it is, yeah,
man.
it's this.
Wrestling Buddy. There you go. Good call.
Wrestling buddies.
I mean, yeah, dude. If you had cool parents, they set up a ring on your bed like that. If you had
Look
parents
at
too.
that.
Look at that guy. He's like, hey,
Where is he right?
I'm all out of cocaine.
Oh, Hulk Hogan got him, brother.
Whoever wrote this commercial, brilliant. By the way, was that the kid from Pete and Pete?
Yeah,
for
yeah,
sure
yeah.
is.
Sure.
The little
Red
redhead.
hair. Ginger kid, yeah.
big fan.
Yeah.
Ultimate Warrior.
You know, if you
Hulk.
they made a version of that for Hulk Hogan where if you pull a cord in the back, he says the N word.
Yeah, wrestling buddies,
Dude, oh my God. Did he say the N-word?
Oh God, that's
on a
how he got
sex tape.
canceled. Yeah, on a sex tape for
He said it on the sex tape?
9 times with he was fucking Bubba the Love Sponge's wife.
Wait, Bubba
Here's
wanted
the
him
beauty
to fuck
of it.
her.
Yes, Bubba set up the videotape and then
Yeah.
he sold it to Gawker and then
Single-handedly took down Gawker.
single-handedly took on Gawker and then Hogan got what 109 million in that lawsuit.
Yeah, but he was also backed by what, Peter Thiel?
Correct.
Yeah.
Peter Thiel paid for the whole fucking thing. Hey, look up the retarded doctor, Freddie Highmore. What's the name of that
The
show?
Good
by the
Doctor
way?
is the
Good
name
Doctor,
of the show.
yeah.
Good
That's a great
Doctor,
show,
dude.
and it's got
very good.
the guy from West Wing. What the fuck is his name? Richard.
Not sure, but this popped on the other night after I was watching a show with my kids, and I was like, man, is he actually autistic? Because if not, how has he not been canceled yet?
This kid?
Yeah, it was weird, man. Freddie Highmore's not. He's normal, right? No special.
Well, I
things?
mean,
No special things.
There's some arguments that we're all somewhere on a spectrum that we
Probably.
refer to as autism when it's extreme in one direction or the other. Right?
Sure. So with the Freddie Highmore kid though, I think he's fucking normal, and like that popped on the other night after I was watching the show with my kid. Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? It was right on after that, right? And I was like, shit, how the fuck is he still doing? That should have been canceled by now. You can't pretend to be retarded on air and not actually be.
Oh, is that what he's...
Yeah.
Wait. So the whole premise is he's pretending to...
No. The premise of the show is he's an autistic doctor.
But he's got it's some form of something.
But he's young, right? It's like autistic Doogie or what?
Yeah.
Kind of. I mean,
I
he's
saw
probably in his
the episode that I
early
saw.
30s.
There was a girl who walked in buck naked when he was in the shower, and I
Why
was
are you
like, she's
watching
trying to
the
fuck him.
show?
Exactly. It was right on after I was watching with my kid, and then he's not only autistic, obviously, but they're having a girl walks in nude into the shower with him to have sex. And she goes, I want to have sex with you. And he's like, I don't think that would be a good idea. Shampoo would get my ding dong, like the whole thing. And I was like,
Did he say ding dong?
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, it was a word for that. And I was like, how the fuck is this still on the air? And he has no form of anything. That's a sidebar altogether, but fucking A if that hasn't bothered me for the last 2 days.
Yeah.
You know?
So I guess he is an adult because Doogie was like
He's
10,
an adult.
right?
Yeah, he's an adult. How old is Freddie Highmore right now? 28?
But on the show, he's playing a
adult.
kid in his 20s.
Yeah. he's playing
Doogie
like a
was
22-year-old.
what, 10 on the show or 9 even?
I think it was 14.
14, yeah. 14.
Wow,
Yeah.
still
Both
very
of us remember
impressive.
Yeah,
14.
well, I remember 14 because at the time that was the legal age of consent in South Carolina.
Yes.
So funny,
He's
dude.
from South Carolina. So
I am, yeah.
I mean,
you
why
got to
do
know
you know
these
that?
things. Well, he's from South Carolina. You got to know these things.
I
Do
know-
they teach that in like...
Yes.
No, when I
you're
was
raised in the South,
no,
that is
no.
the first thing you know.
No, when I was a sergeant in the military, anytime my guys would go back home on vacation, I would have a little chart where all their fucking hometowns are. I'm like, you can fucking if the woman's not fucking born by this date, walk away.
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Because I didn't want to deal with any bullshit.
Because all those
Yeah.
military guys get popped. We had a guy that worked for us back in the day who got popped, and it was just like,
Why
shit,
is that, do you think?
I don't know. Fucking stupid. They're
Yeah.
fucking stupid.
Yeah. No.
But I mean, look, if you see a hot girl, especially these days, well, I guess it's less common these days, but back in the mid 2000s, late 90s, mid 2000s, everybody dressing like Paris Hilton and shit all the time. I don't expect the fucking 16-year-old parents to let her out of the house dressed like a goddamn.
Yeah. By the way,
like that.
Jessica
You know what I
says
mean?
on here on the message boards, he's not actually autistic. How is this on there?
So nobody checks ID. Come on.
No,
man.
no, nobody
Nobody's
asked
gonna
for
do
that.
I'm sure it's mostly honest mistakes, but
Remember
know.
Girls Gone Wild? Francis, that motherfucker was
Oh,
like,
yeah, what happened to... That guy got busted
in
for
jail.
what?
Wait, no. He's out there and alive.
He's looking to find another.
The real story is
Avenue.
he got
Guy's
fucking-
gone wild.
He
You're
got
like, all right.
kidnapped. He got kidnapped and then fucked relentlessly with a fucking dildo on film.
Okay.
And they said, if you ever tell anybody about what happened here or whatever, and it was like a full weekend, pull up that fucking story. It's crazy. They broke into his house down in Cabo, the one that Jay Anis, Jennifer Aniston, and all those guys were at. They used to vacation at. And
He used
it was
to vacate with Aniston?
no, but his house was legendary in Cabo. He would just give it to all
Rent
the
it out.
celebrities. Yeah, dude. And
He looks like he was a part of Firefest. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
Like
yeah.
he
He's
donated or was
here it
like,
is.
yo, let me provide the sandwiches.
tied
Like,
up,
dude, didn't you take a dildo?
robbed by 4 men, and yeah, man, they fucking raped him for like days, and then
no.
videotaped it and said, hey, if you don't give us X, whatever that was, we're gonna put this video out into the world. Yeah, and you've never heard from him since.
I mean, look, he did a lot of
the rumor, by the way.
psychological damage for a lot of dads. But
Look at that place, though.
do you think
Nice
if he
house.
didn't, it's a great house. Do you think if he didn't create the business model for Girls Gone Wild, somebody else would have?
Yes, 100%.
Well, there's another guy right now who did Girls Do Porn, who's currently on the run from the FBI. So
What's his name? How do we get him on the show?
well, we're gonna have to look.
But the
at
Girls Gone Wild videos were never porn, right? It was always just like
started to
teasing
go
you.
there.
It was almost like,
no, it went there at the end where he was just
They
like,
were just
hey.
doing lesbian shit at the
Yeah.
oh,
end.
really?
yeah.
For what
You obviously only watch the ads.
Yeah,
You didn't
gotta
actually buy the DVD.
You never
Yeah.
bought the you were never a DVD guy on that.
I mean, again, man, single mom. My mom wasn't fucking trying to. What do you want for Hanukkah? Girls Gone Wild Volume 3?
Yeah, I mean, look, it was a monthly thing. It was almost like boxofawesome.com, promo code Drinkin Bros.
Also-
But you got it per month. It was a subscription.
Yeah,
Came to your house.
I mean, yeah, and I wish I. Those are the types of things too that you need to have, like a buddy with a dad that had all of them. That was like one night you're over playing Sega, and he's like, "When you pussies are done trying to fucking beat Sonic the Hedgehog, you want to come look at some pussy?" And you're like, "Sure, Mr. Larson, just let me finish this level." Fuck you. Like, all right. But you needed somebody like that to, I guess, introduce the real stuff.
The world to, yeah, but that's what I heard happened to Francis. I went to his birthday party one year.
Oh, wow.
He rented out Six Flags in LA.
Very cool.
And dude, there was like 250 people. You had free reign all night.
What's it cost to rent
Greatest
out
night of
Six
all
Flags?
time.
Like 150,000.
Let's guess
For
and
the
then look
day.
it
Like
up.
that, probably.
Yeah,
How
yeah.
much?
I don't know. But for the day, so you had full access. I ended up riding the Batman ride like fucking 13 times
How
in a row.
cool is that?
It was the best. So like, dude, whatever happened to you, Steve Francis, just know that was the greatest fucking party I've ever been to in my life.
It's cool. It is cool to, yeah. And
Well,
that's-
one of them, yeah. Top
That's what's
two.
tough about guys like that too, where you have one cool experience and you're like, I want to hold on to that and let that be the driving force behind how I judge you. But then you look at guys like Papa John and you're like, I mean, do you guys know Papa John
Oh,
personally?
the Papa.
No.
That
No,
guy just
we want
seems like
to.
that guy just seems like he farts in elevators and blames it on fat kids.
Yeah,
daily.
He
you know?
seems like the biggest piece of shit on earth, to be honest. He's got a fucking moat around his house.
he was right about the reckoning.
he what?
Yeah.
He was right before the reckoning. He said there was going to be a day of reckoning, and then COVID happened. So
Yes. Papa John called that. Yeah, the Papa.
The Papa.
R.I.P. to his career.
Also, like,
He's all done.
again, dude, I got no patience for guys who casually drop the N-word like that
Yeah.
and then don't take
outta here.
accountability. And he's like, yeah, man, like, everyone gets a couple. And you're like, dude, like, you're like, no, that's not, just say sorry. He's like, dude, Little Caesars implies it. You're like, dude, what are you talking about?
They are Greek, man. Caesar was
Yeah.
Greek. No, but they
Oh, he's
had
Roman.
That's
Roman.
all, by the way.
Either way.
By the way, that's all that the other pizza companies had to do. Like after that, like Domino's was just like, look, we might be a little late, but at least we ain't dropping N-bombs.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
And our cheese, it ain't the best cheese, but it's it's delivered from a good wholesome company who believes in everyone's cool.
Yeah, every race can have our
Yeah.
pizza,
Yeah,
not like
yeah,
Papa
that's
John's.
all you had to do after that.
The
What a
beauty with the
dummy.
Papa John thing was he was on a conference call with all the
Like
the
30
entire
people.
board. Yeah,
Like it wasn't like
Entire
he
board of
it
directors.
wasn't like he was in his office alone and it came out and somebody heard it through the door.
Yeah.
He was on a fucking call as the CEO of the company with 30 of his subordinates.
Yeah, you just gotta read the room and know, but also like for sure that wasn't the first time. Nobody
no.
Pull up the
accidentally
picture of
drops
him
that.
on coke at the Louisville game.
Oh,
there
who-
it is. There it is.
Just sweating.
Yes, all coked up, drunk as shit at the Louisville game.
Oh God,
Yeesh.
he looks
looks
like
like-
an aging soap star.
Yeah, it kind of does. Or like a Telemundo.
Like he's
soap
like,
star,
you guys ever watch General Hospital? And he's like, I'm 19.
Like the middle brother on the Brady bunch.
But real quick, hilarious for sure.
Bobby.
What if they thought that's who it was? These kids are so like tapped in.
Bobby
like,
Brady,
old school
bro.
shows. It's Bobby Brady. He's like,
Remember
"I
that
love
time his
pizza."
voice changed when he was singing? It was fucking great.
But let's also quickly just talk about the fact that the kid to his left looks older than he does.
Yeah.
The kid to his left is like not going to make it through the next year of
Is that on
college.
screen, Hot Bob?
He's got a big fold in his forehead there.
That kid is definitely going to be fired from Costco in 2028.
I'm more concerned about the African American gentleman behind. I think Papa might have dropped one right there.
Yeah.
Just look at the way he's looking.
The way
at
he's
him.
looking at him.
Yeah.
Or he knows. Or word was out and he was just like, fuck this guy. Yeah.
Pull up Papa John and Peyton Manning after the Super Bowl. This one still haunts me because I love Peyton Manning. And I was like, God damn
Me
it.
too. Peyton Manning does.
He wins the Super Bowl, retires on the field. It's amazing. And then it's just him and Papa John. That's all I remember from Peyton Manning's retirement.
He
right
snuck
there.
on. What a
Well,
slimy shit.
Peyton owns 47 Papa Johns. So.
Didn't he even say into the mic, like, I'm going to go home and fuck my wife and have a slice of Papa John's pizza?
Yes.
Didn't he say,
and
like,
I'm going to drink Budweiser heavies. And you were like,
was-
bro.
But also,
Wasn't he getting
bro,
wasn't he
I
getting
mean,
HGH shipped to his wife?
Yes. Yeah.
You
Okay,
earned
cool.
that moment. Can I be honest, man? Like, I don't know. I would love to think that I wouldn't just go on a branding rant, you know, and even the ones I didn't have, be like, dude, I'm gonna go home and get some strawberry Snapple and put some Tampax tampon in, you know, in anywhere, because you know, I just love to get a McDonald's cheeseburger, get some Dairy Queen Blizzards, just to go down the line, man, and just get all of their endorsements.
Yeah, I remember when Kevin Garnett won for the Celtics and he screamed anything is possible for the Adidas campaign, and he fucked up the wording of it, and they were like, ah, shit, we got
They couldn't use it?
They had to reword the whole campaign because he fucked it up on camera.
To anything is what?
Yeah, fix it in post.
Yeah,
We got
they fixed it in post, but with that and with the Papa in particular, I don't know where he's at right now, but
Well, he lies. He said he's going to eat 30 pizzas in 30 days. He didn't do it.
He didn't
He
do
said,
it.
I ate some of 30.
Wait, why?
I ate some of a pizza every day for 30 days.
Trying to do like the Morgan,
Size Me,
the
yeah.
Super
Trying to
Size
come
Me.
back. If I were him, just buy like fucking DiGiorno or something.
Well, how rich do you really need to be? Take your
He's
money
done.
and go
I know.
somewhere.
It's like when you see some jack guy at the gym, you're like, you did it, dude.
yeah,
Go home.
just relax.
Shatner's his last name. That's a bad one too, where it's just like, oh man, Shatner's always, you know, is that
That's his house.
Oh fuck, put that on screen, man.
I
Maybe
mean-
I'd take back everything I said.
That's incredible.
I'll yell out Papa John's all goddamn day
has
if my
a golf
house is
course?
like that. Yeah, why not? Why not have a couple holes on there?
What would be the so a buddy of mine and I started watching old Disney movies.
Do you see,
and
by the way, what I was
go
saying
ahead.
before, down like on the right side? That's a fucking drawbridge. I'm not even kidding. I'm not even kidding. It's a drawbridge right there for no
It
reason.
came after the Papa.
For no reason.
It goes into an underground complex
Yeah.
as well.
Yes,
yeah,
it
and
does.
it's
Yeah.
but there's no need for the drawbridge. It's like a swimming area.
It
on the
is.
other side of
If
that.
you get taken over, you
Yeah.
got to go underground.
You think you put the
Christ.
drawbridge?
Papa's
in
got
the
a panic
moat
room.
over there.
Yeah, there's fucking
anticipating that he
crocodiles
was
and
about to
shit.
drop an N-word and needed like
Probably.
a way
Yes,
to
I need a little
distance himself.
standoff.
He's like, look, guys, I'm a kind of a loose cannon. We should start talking moats.
Black people hate to
We're just
swim.
installing the
Yeah.
TVs. Well, you know, a moat guy.
He just keeps going into like full racism. Black people hate to swim. I know that much.
Yeah.
It's like, no, that's not true,
yeah,
Papa.
just leans in hard.
You fucker.
There is something to be said about the Disney vibe that, and this is why I wanted to
Yeah.
ask. So a buddy of mine and I, we started getting high and reviewing these old Disney kid movies, and from an adult perspective, and we've done Blank Check and Heavyweight so far. It's under my podcast about last night, and his Spoil the Beans. His name's Derek Poston, hilarious. It's on King of the Sting and Fire and the Kid all the time. And Blank Check is crazy when you go back and look at it, because this fucking 12-year-old kid is trying to fuck a 40-year-old woman who's like undercover. And at the very end, this classic scene where they're just kind of saying their goodbyes, and she discovers that was lying and all this stuff, and there's no real Mr. McIntosh, and she's like, all right, so I'll see you when I see you. And he's like, I'll see you. And she's like, call me sometime when you're, in like 20 years. And he goes, what does he say? He goes like 5, and she goes 15, and he goes 7, and she goes deal. And you're like, wait a second, it might have even been lower than that, where it was like they settled on 5. So she was just like, hit me up when you're 15, and it's fine.
Yeah.
But anyway, point being, this has Blank Check vibe. So if you had, let's just go with like a mill. What's the first thing you add to your current house?
To my current house.
Yeah.
It's
A
nothing.
for you thing. This isn't for the fam. It's like something extravagant, like a golf course or a moat or not just a crazy game center. I'm talking
Sure,
what's something that you're like,
Sure.
nobody very few people have that.
Right.
Like the water slide from his bedroom to the pool.
Batting
right?
cage. So
Batting
I
cage,
want
very cool.
I want a full batting cage where it's just like, humming. Like I want a fucking 95 mile an hour like cage.
But you also want the softball lobs.
Yeah, correct.
Because
Correct.
95 is fast.
Yeah, I can still hit it, but
Can you really?
Not bragging. Yeah.
You
if
get-
we went out to
No
the cages
way.
today,
60
I
feet.
could easily
It's
We're,
60.
we're gonna have to
easily
do
dial that
Yeah.
up.
By the way,
Yeah,
don't
I'm
humble
in.
brag that.
I'm
That's
in.
impressive.
I'm in for that, by the way.
75 is fast.
It is and it isn't, but so I'd go that, and then I'd go full court basketball hoop.
That's
full
a
Ohio
no-brainer.
State logos, obviously, and then guest house with like I want old arcade games. I want Golden Tee. I want the whole fucking shit, but the real games, right? And I want a skee ball machine with the $100,000 holes in the top right and left.
Yeah.
Not that I've thought about any of this, but
Dude, your head is in the right place. By the way,
yes.
just got a Golden Tee machine about 6 months ago.
Are you good?
Game changer, huh?
Are you good?
full
What do you
size.
shoot?
Am I good? Like, am I going on the tour next year? I mean, like,
Full size.
it's a lot of fun. I'm not playing to like get good. It's like it's always when I'm very.
You know who's
drunk.
really good is
but I love
fucking
playing.
Rob O'Neill, the guy that killed Bin Laden and his
Yes.
brother. They like bet thousands of dollars.
He's a
against
good
each
buddy
other.
of ours, and so
Yeah.
we were just at his house 2 months ago, and he had the full Golden Tee up in his house.
Yeah.
It's great.
And they were going for $2,000 a game.
We used to have
on
it
that.
at the old
Yeah.
office. We all like by the end of it, we all shot like 18 under.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Once you get good at it, you get good at it, right? Papa Shot, I want that in my house as well.
Wow,
I've
that's
never
a
been
great
beaten to this
call.
day in Papa Shot. Like
You're talking like the 1-2 that just goes back and forth after a certain, you know, like you get a certain thing and it goes back. 'Cause there's
Absolutely.
different grades of
Absolutely, yeah.
So basically, Ross just wants to turn his house into a fraternity.
Correct.
Because that's the last time he
Dude,
was
Dave
happy.
and Buster's is a successful business model for a lot of reasons. And if
Yeah.
a dude doesn't want to turn part of their house into that,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah,
like, hey,
for
man,
sure. And
But
that was
I also
that's-
enjoy my kids, and like, dude, if I had all this shit in my
They'd
house,
love it.
Yeah, they
yes,
can
they
do
love
it.
it. They fucking love
And
it.
that's an immediate thing for you guys to do and bond over.
Because what I was thinking, like, it was raining Saturday, right? We had a shoot at our house. Joel Brenner, shout out. You made a fucking awesome video. I think he's gone already. But we had a shoot at the house, and it was raining, and it was like, shit, I got a 6-year-old and a 2-year-old. All they wanted to do was go outside and play baseball. We couldn't do it. And I was
How'd
like,
you know it was rain? Did you check
"Motherfucker."
Mike Trout's Twitter?
I did. And he told me.
Yeah, he told you.
He told me personally,
Sorry, yeah, keep going.
because we're bros, obviously.
You just tweet your zip code at Mike Trout and he'll tell you what it's like outside.
Yeah.
That's actually
And they'd be like,
brilliant.
oh, it's a Romulus cloud today. And you're like, oh, fuck you, Mike.
He should
Yeah.
have a cloud app that's like Trout's. I don't know what the branding
Trout
is on
clouds,
that, but like
yeah.
something where he breaks down. I don't know, whatever. But
Yeah,
okay,
he should check the weather for the World Series because he's never gone.
oh wow,
Nailed it.
It's not his fault.
It's not his fault.
Is it?
He'll go.
You can't have a fucking 10 WAR every year.
That's another
They
guy
get
too that
blamed.
could take less money and like get more talent
Yes,
around
dude.
him.
Go to
Yeah.
Philadelphia. They would have fucking backed up the truck to get a good team for him. But no, I'll stay in LA, take the fucking 350 and never win a fucking championship. Fine, man. You'll be the greatest to never do shit.
Dan Marino.
But with that,
All right.
if I had a fucking full house full of arcade shit, I would have taken them out back and it would have been like, all right, great. In the meantime, you got to invent games in the house. Like we ended up playing street hockey in the house where it was like,
Also
all right,
very cool though.
but not cool for the walls. So we were
no.
like, all right, great. I'll
right.
take a White Claw as well.
What would your purchases be?
Mine, I would the same stuff for sure, but I would include like a big kitchen kind of deal, right? So there's a smoker and things like that.
You want like a fucking HGTV, like a kitchen, like a chef's kitchen. In yours,
Yeah. Something like
Dan
that.
likes to cook.
Yeah, so I would have
dope.
like
Yeah.
a place to cure meats, like prosciutto, pancetta, shit like that,
Wow.
and then smoked meats as well.
Oh, and a
real
wine
elaborate.
cellar, dude. When we went to
Yeah.
that fucking castle at
Yeah.
that gig in Kansas City,
Yeah.
we went to this lady's house. She lived in a real castle, right? She hosted us for this event, and her and her husband. We went there, and she was like, "Do you guys like wine?" Dan's a big wine connoisseur. She brought us down to the basement.
Wow.
It was a full fucking like medieval wine cellar, and she was like, "Grab any bottle." Each bottle was like $15,000.
Yeah, she was like, everybody just grab a bottle, and I think I don't know if it hit with you or Xander. or any of those
No,
people.
you were the one who told me
But
because
I
I
was
didn't
like-
know,
I
and I just
picked up-
started turning and burning, and you go, "Whoa, whoa, whoa!"
Yeah, I picked up one bottle. I picked up one bottle, and it was an $18,000 bottle of wine. I knew it from. I just remember it. I'm
Yeah.
like, oh
Wow.
well, we're gonna do that. We drink.
So here's what
We
happened.
drank $60,000 worth of wine that
Yes.
night.
There's no. Does it? It
Yes.
tastes better, right?
It does.
Oh, of course it
yes.
tastes better, yeah.
It really does. And it's one of those things where you're like, man, I don't want to say this out loud because you seem like an asshole.
Yeah.
It really fucking does. And you're like, oh shit, that's why rich people get pissed off about like the rest of the world, where they're like, dude, if I can't have a fucking $60,000 bottle of wine, I'm angry about life. Like,
Now, do you think you would if you could afford it, or do you think you'd choose that as an avenue to cut costs and be like, all right, maybe not every bottle has to be.
Well, here's the thing. So if you won that $1 billion lottery that just went down, yes, you get every bottle is $60,000 and you enjoy your life. To
Like
the
Johnny
fullest.
Depp, right? He just lost.
Well,
I mean, wasn't he spending like a couple $100,000 a month on?
$250 a month on wine. Yeah.
In my defense, it was only because Amber Heard said that she would stop pooping in the bed if I bought more expensive wine.
When he said that she shit the bed in that deposition, that's when I loved Johnny Depp again. I was off the Johnny Depp train, and then when he goes, we would have some drinks, and then, I found her on New Year's Eve, and there was shit in the bed, and I was like,
I know.
back to being a Johnny Depp fan.
Dude, yeah, I will
Back to
watch
being a Johnny Depp
Chocolat again. Wait, didn't he or she blame it on the dog or something? Mm-hmm. She did, right?
Blame that on the dog. It was like, no,
You
when
can
I
blame
got to use
farts
the
on a dog.
bathroom,
You can't blame shit in the bed.
Shit. And the beauty was he took a picture and then used that picture at the deposition. So there's a picture of her shitty bed
Does it look like human poo?
at the deposition. It was smeared in. So
Does
it
it
was
look like
it kind of makes me
remember Train Spotting when homeboy passed out and then the girlfriend shit all over him?
No, like this.
You don't
there
remember
it
that
is.
scene?
Pull up that picture, Hot Bob. There
Wait,
we
are
go.
they blurring out poop?
You have to. It was a fucking log, dude. You don't want to drop that like to the human race. Okay, maybe
That
maybe
looks like a dead cat that's
Put-
been put through a blender. What
put
is
the
this?
blurred one up there because we might get flagged by YouTube on that.
It's just
Too
a
late.
piece of poo, man.
Too
Jesus
late.
Christ.
I know, but that's the age we're living in right now.
Not that great of a bed, to be honest.
It's not, but the length of that,
Great of a
it looks
bed.
like a female.
What a great comment. Aside from
It's not a ghost bed. It's not a ghost bed from
That's a hot.
ghostbed.com.
You think that's a hot and
/Drinkin' Bros.
long? What kind of dump is that?
It's a hot and long. Like it's definitely wet. Probably some form of tortilla and a queso was involved the night before. It's not a lot of protein. Like they weren't eating just steaks the night before and potatoes,
dude.
You know, because that's a little runny.
do-
And it's a little misshapen where it's just like, oh shit, is that Bernie Sanders in that shit? Do they put the Bernie Sanders meme in there?
That's hilarious.
No, this is
That's
just the
pretty
unedited. It's not on the screen. Don't worry.
Okay, great.
There
Yeah.
Can
is
you blow
something-
that up? What is that?
It looks like the Loch Ness Monster.
Yeah, does she got has she been chewing on dog toys? Is there foam stuck in her shit or
I
something?
think so.
By the way, we've all been close to, defecating in places that you don't want to do it.
Oh yeah.
The
Yeah.
bed,
No.
I mean, I thankfully I feel like I can say I've never had to jump out of bed or where there's been a close call. You know what I'm saying? Like, but maybe if you're that, but I've heard stories of guys and gals being so fucked up to where it just happens while you're
Wait,
asleep.
let me stop
was
you right
sober
there.
and I shit my pants one time.
Have you sharted in your bed before?
Not in bed, but out of bed for sure.
Well, for
Yeah,
sure, but like
I've just,
that's
just
that's
quick,
that.
just
I don't
quick,
count.
you know?
I don't count that. I don't count that because that's just a little bit.
Yeah.
Right.
No.
It's
yeah.
not like there's more coming. I don't
Yeah.
have to run anywhere.
Yeah.
after
So you got to
that.
be blackout or asleep. But that's the other thing too,
No.
because haven't you been asleep and had to pee and you somehow wake yourself up? But with poo, I feel like if you're not waking up from that, that is like,
Well, here's the thing. Sober, I was shooting a pilot for MTV in Roswell, New Mexico.
Called Poop Sleepers?
With Clayton Crawford. No, I wish. But
I wish.
everybody there in Roswell, New Mexico, because we were like, hey, we just wanted to get some good tacos. We heard the Mexicans great here. Obviously, it's New Mexico,
Yeah.
right? Everybody recommended this taco place in a gas station. So when we went there, it was just like, oh my God, you could still smell like gas and then eat the tacos. And I was like, this isn't a good idea.
seedy, yeah.
We did it. Both of us had hit at the same time. We're in a pass van, and we're like, gun it. Just get us back to the hotel. Both of us are taking off to the doors, but that was metal keys too.
Oh, yeah.
Where you had to put it in. And I got my key in the door, shit my pants. He didn't make it to the door. He gave up and just started walking it off and was just like, well, that's that.
isn't that amazing when you just have to
Yeah.
kind of give in and you're like, my body is driving the ship on this one.
The only accidental time I've seen it was a buddy of mine in college pooped in a Subway, and he had no idea and was mid-order, but they're down from you, right? So they're a step down in a Subway behind the sneeze guard, so they can't see. And so it hit him mid-thing, and he goes, is that yep, that's a turd. Hit the back of his calf, one turd, and then just hopped out the back. Finished the order. They made the sandwich. She got the chips and the drink, and then got the fuck out of there. No, and I was like, yo, man, at no point did you want to bounce? And he was like, no. He's like, when are they coming back around the counter? And I was like, probably never. You're right.
What's up with homeboy's rectal integrity that he had to question whether or not a turd had just fallen out?
Oh, it's
is the other stuff just falling out as well?
He's a bad one. Like,
good question.
There was a thing in the fraternity where like all the toilets were clogged, and it was always him. We were like, hey man, what's the fucking story? His mom had to make him a poop stick as a child.
Chop up turds, yeah.
Yes, I'd never heard of that, and I was like, what the fuck? Bro?
I'd never heard of it until
a poop axe.
American Dad.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know what that was.
They made a joke about it one time, and I looked it up. I'm like, that's a real thing. Some people's shits are too big.
Yes, and so the parents had to make him a wooden poop axe to cut in half, and then we used to call him the double flusher because it was a 2 flusher, and like he
Love
had to
when
chop
guys
that
give
poop in
nicknames.
half.
By the way, no creativity. It's just what you are, what you did, and maybe your name will be in the middle of it. You know.
I knew a girl in high school that had I knew a girl in high school that had 2 buttholes and no vagina, and people called her dual exhaust. Right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wait a second.
Yeah.
Was she on Ripley's Believe It or Not?
Now,
Does she have her own talk show?
My understanding is, and this is before camera phones, obviously, unfortunately, because I would love to have seen it. But
If I could see that, there's no like we
what
would
I
do a
heard was
GoFundMe. I would love to see.
What I
it.
heard was both holes just looked like buttholes. I don't know what that means.
Yeah. So it wasn't like
I'm sure it's just like she was a large woman, so I'm sure it was just like a fatty
Yeesh.
upper pussy area.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can you imagine having 2 buttholes?
Sex would still be fun.
Yeah. I
Like,
mean,
I think you'd make it work. Wouldn't be. It would stink.
where was the second butthole though? Was it like in your elbow or something?
That's the question. That's why I brought it up.
Or like
I'd go-
Spider-Man under the wrist, like you could fucking.
Same
that's
spot.
that's the ideal spot for it.
Yeah, but if you go same spot, you're still having a good time as a dude either way. But then you got to get used to that scent all the time. That's a different type of scent.
It just makes
that butt sex scent.
It makes like quickies difficult.
Yes.
Obviously,
Yeah.
there's
Yeah.
a preparation involved.
What is this? I have 2 buttholes. Whose blog is this?
This is Reddit. I
Oh,
have
it's
2
a Reddit
buttholes. AMA.
It's
He
an
says
AMA.
one
no?
works like a normal butthole, the other one just sort of hangs out,
You don't say.
just sits there.
But now,
gonna
but that's
sit
not a
there.
butthole.
Is there a picture?
Well, I guess it's a hole in the
See what I
butt. But
can
if it's
find.
not doing butthole type things, then
I mean, technically, that's just a hole in your body. If it's not
Yeah.
attached to your lower intestine.
because if you're like if you go to a guy and he's like, I'm in a band, and you're like, what instrument do you play? And he's like, I don't. You're like, all right, well, you're not a musician then.
Oh man! There's a guy right there,
that
right
looks
in
like
the
he-
sink.
he
Yeah,
got stabbed in the
no,
fucking back
don't
or
put
something.
this up on YouTube. We're gonna get flagged for that.
Oh.
This should be a Patreon episode. We'll do a full episode on Drinkin Bros Patreon for this. That is a double anus on that man, dude. Did he shit out of his back like
I
that?
feel like he's just greedy at this point.
Yeah, he knows too much.
He knows too much. Yeah.
There's no way he could shit out. I mean, gravity doesn't work that way.
Gravity.
His
No, but
his
You
shit
play
is
with
low.
John Mayer over the.
I mean, played with is generous. Kicked it with, chummed it up, had a couple exchanges with him.
Do you know the
Very
story
nice
of his
dude.
hog?
Very funny, huh?
You know the story of his hog?
I don't, but based on his sexual history,
He's
I'm
got a
assuming-
hammer on him. But
Yeah.
Hot Bob,
I mean, I
show.
don't doubt it.
I don't know why you take every opportunity to get fucking
John Mayer
John Mayer's dick on the screen.
Pissing because it's a shocker. It's a double hander where you're like, oh,
dude, you're pulling it
shit.
up?
Yeah. Well, it's not gonna be visible on YouTube. Just show it to Adam so he can see
He wants.
it. Though.
He's like
You
you're like,
have to do pissing.
You're like a fan
John
of
Mayer
Breaking
pissing.
Bad that won't stop telling people they need to watch it.
Well, this
Like,
is
check out John Mayer's hog,
You
man.
sang a
isn't
line
as
of gravity just so
famous.
he could show his cock.
Gravity.
He's
Yeah,
got
there
a
it
framed
is.
fucking picture of this dick. He carries it around.
It was with Katy Perry. Katy Perry took the picture. So
Boy, she's just,
He also allegedly doesn't have sex, right?
no, he's boned everyone.
No, he just
boned
jerks off
everyone.
on the girls.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
He's got things to
highly
do.
doubt that.
He's
but,
got things
you
to
know,
do.
Again, these are things
Allegedly.
that people say.
Yeah.
You choose to believe it. You know,
Yeah.
you did. So, I mean, but I love that you're sticking to it. You're
Search
he
for
doesn't
John
fuck me.
Mayer
I love
cock
that
or
about
something.
him.
You've worked with everybody. Have you ever asked one of these fuckers what like their craziest shit is? Of like, hey man, is that real? Where you're like, hey man, like kicked it with him where you got to the point where you were beef fries and you were like, hey man, is that fucking real?
Yeah, I mean, Dane Cook's told me some pretty bonkers stories.
Really?
He had a
He was a rock star
enjoy-
for a
He
while.
was,
man.
dude,
he
by the way,
had a
I will
good
never
time.
shit on Dane Cook because that motherfucker was doing
I don't know.
arenas when
He's-
it wasn't a thing.
I don't know
Like,
why he gets so much heat. His fucking jokes are funny.
Well, here's the thing, dude. Comedy's subjective.
It
So
is,
if you
yes.
don't like them, that's fine. There's
Yeah.
people, you know, I have best friends who I love them off stage, don't care for their comedy on stage.
Do you heckle them?
No, I mean,
Just every now and again,
Do you
like
tell them?
like Impractical Joker style, show up and heckle them at
Do
one
you
of their
tell them,
shows?
hey man, I
Hilarious.
don't dig your shit, so don't ask me if your set was
no,
funny?
but a buddy of mine, I've tried to, in a way where it's like, no, because that's just like fucking, if somebody's they're grinding, trying to get to where they want to be, I'm not trying to get in the way, but with jokes of his, I've been like, this is not a good joke, and stop opening with it, and him being like, I think it's a good like opener to kind of ease into it. I'm like, but it doesn't get laughs, so it's not an opener. So that type of shit. But Dane, you know, and getting to know him, first of all, was a big fan coming up when he kind of made comedy real cool. And I was at a point to where I was dating a girl long distance, you know, and I would be on the phone with her. She's, you know, working at NBC in the Page program, and she's, you know, doing a handful of different jobs. And at one point she was like a seater for SNL thing. So she's at the after party, and I would stay up to chat with her in this small window before I would do what I was going to do. And she'd be like, I got to go. John Stamos wants to talk to me. Bye. And I'm just like, oh, he's probably fucking her while she hung up.
Yeah.
So then I was like, I got to get out of here and start like, in this before I really got into stand up. So I'd go to the Laugh Factory a lot, store improv, just, you know, by myself. It's before I really got into stand up, just to be at shows, because I was still kind of like 1 foot in, 1 foot out, and not sure if I wanted to commit to what the world required, which was just full on, treat it like a job.
It's
like
a grind.
drive to San Diego for 8 minutes and drive back to work at Universal Studios the next day. Just really give yourself over to it, not have a plan B. So I go to the factory and see Dane just, to this day, never seen someone hold the crowd in the palm of their hand like that, because of his energy, how likable he was, how funny he was. And so getting to a point where I was on shows with him and became buds with him, getting to know his story and who he is. I mean, look, you know, he's even said candidly on pods and stuff, yeah, there's some things he wishes he would have done differently as far as, but he's a true introvert. So it's like he also jumped from colleges to theaters. He never did clubs really. So he didn't have that real chance to develop like a rapport with like staff and openers and all that. And also then when you come back and start doing clubs, you're fucking on top of the world and you're selling out arenas. It's tough but he also says like, I didn't maybe do as much on my end to like try to hang out at places like that. But you're moving and shaking, and then you get into movies and you're just, you know, you're on a different trajectory. But the fact that he takes kind of ownership and reflects on that, I think is cool. Also went through a lot of crazy shit in a year. I don't know how I would deal with losing both my folks and having my brother steal a bunch of shit from me, on top of having people just jump. When you reach to the height of where you never thought you'd get to, and you have a short time to enjoy it, because now, as like we've talked about in this country, people love to just, as soon as you get on top, fucking get you off. And but so again, comedy's subjective. So people that are like, I'm not a fan. Yeah, fine. Again, like you don't have to. There's so much shit. There's something for everybody. But it for me was a true example of like, man, like everyone's got a story, and you know, before you just look at, again, like what you see posted and what you want to decide to feel about that, like, you know, maybe don't fully commit to your full-on feelings about it until maybe you find yourself in a place to get some of it. So that being said, this all comes back to, you know, I got to go on him with his sweet girl on his jet to do this last tour, which was bonkers. We were going on this private jet from show to show, Radio City Music Hall, fucking, I mean, every big venue. It was insane. And he told me some stories from the good days that were just crazy, dude. And not just, sexual escapade stuff, but, getting the type of experiences sports-wise and just all the good stuff that comes from SNL and movies and just really cool shit that you're like, man, that is, and again, like at a time before social media really went crazy. So it's like,
well, he did it, man. I mean, I remember when he was in the middle of all of that shit, he used MySpace. He was one of the first comedians to use social media to get out there and promote himself.
And he would message everybody back.
And all the other comics were fucking livid at him. They were like, fuck you. Because he would roll into like the Laugh Factory, right? And just bump everybody and go on for like 2 hours. And they were like, fuck Dane Cook. And the owner of the Laugh Factory was like, yo, man, Dane Cook's putting asses in the seats.
Yeah,
so
seriously. And I think that's where a lot of the hate from the comedian community came from.
And I get that too. And he gets that. And so, and again, it's just like, like I was saying, the introvert thing of him always, being just uneasy around lots of people pre and post shows, and so that contributed to the lack of hang on his part. Again, does that make up for bumping people and doing shit like that? No, but again, man, it's like if you can get to a point to where you can look back and be like, God, that was shitty that I did that, and I get that, and I'm trying to make amends. But
Yeah.
yeah, then there's that point where you're like, fuck, if you are the reason this place is packed every night,
Right.
maybe there's a little bit of leeway like that, but
And if you're an entertainer right now, you have to look at where the industry is going and decide. You really have to make the decision that we're all kind of in this together. This because we're facing. It's not me versus you anymore. It's us versus all these people trying to shut us up for some reason. I have no idea why they're trying to do it. I mean, we could speculate on that, but all that shit going on. One joke didn't make Dane Cook's career. 2 jokes didn't. Like his energy and stage presence is what made his career.
And the stealing, dude. When
Stealing
Louis gave
yeah.
him, and they've hashed it out, and it was fucked. And Louis has apologized in his own way, but like getting to know him, dude, you go, there's common premises. There's a lot of funny people. There's things that people, I had a buddy of mine when I was like 2 years in, and he was like 10 years in, come up to me after a show, and I was doing a joke about the seeing these like 12-year-old girls in the Olympics doing like 8 backflips on a 4-inch balance beam and doing like just complimenting the athletic prowess at that age and being like, man, when I was 12, I was making my sister smell my farts I trapped in a cup, So just like a stupid comparison of like, look at how dope they are versus what I was doing. And he had like a kind of a similar joke about how great these young athletes are in the Olympics, and he went out of his way to tell me, which was just a power move. He's like, hey, can you not do that bit anymore? And even at 2 years in, I was like, I mean, no, because you don't own that premise. And
Dane Cook said that, or
no,
Louis
this was
CK?
just another comic.
Okay,
I'm sorry,
gotcha.
yeah. Just another comic, but so getting to know Dane and knowing how original and how his brain works, it's like, and then Louis even said to him that he would just, he didn't like his positive, upbeat, how popular he got. I guess him and Louis were kind of the guys that were coming up. Mm-hmm. Dame popped. It took a little bit for Louis too. So there was like animosity there. And he was just like, oh, let me do, like we said, what. And then Louis got to a place where it was like, oh, I can make a couple comments about him and take him off the mountain. And that's what happened. But I'm like, oh man, I don't know. Like you look at, again, all the bits and you're like, a guy that's that prolific with these many specials, which he's done a shit ton, and all the jokes and how he's really kind of found a style that was unique to him. You're like, a guy that did the speak and spell bit and this long car accident bit and all these, I'm like,
and the fucking,
I really don't think he's got a shortage of ideas to be like, let me take one of Louis' bits.
Yeah.
And they're 2 different comics. So
the
you're
McDonald's
just like,
ordering thing. I mean, he's got so many
it's
classics.
so in a different space. So I was always like, wow, really? Did he like? But again, people love to just jump on that, man. When someone's, and also there's probably, you look at comics that a majority of comics aren't what he is and was. Where coming up being a guy who's starring in movies like that and is like in great shape and doing all that and making comedy like have a rock star vibe to it.
Yeah.
Of course, a guy like Louis is like, fuck this guy. I'm losing my hair. I've got kids. Like,
I'm wearing Z Cavaricci still, and you're like, hey,
it
man,
makes sense. So
Louis didn't get rad until he actually became old to where his material fit what he actually looks like.
Yeah. And I also think Louis is hilarious.
He's a brilliant writer.
So do I.
Yeah.
But even like the
writer.
Kevin Hart model right now, like, dude, that all came from Dane Cook, doing those huge arenas, that rock star type shit where it was just,
man.
Yeah.
It's,
so I'll never hate on Dane Cook during all that.
But also,
shit,
I mean, and I just said all that to give some perspective on it because I, not that I, am required to, but it's like shit, man. I feel like if you get to know somebody and you have an insight like that, it's worth
people need to
coming
know
to the aid of
for sure. Because you've been a comic for a long time now. You did stand up.
Yep.
You listen to any hour-long comedy special, you are going to find similar premises that from jokes you've heard maybe 20 years ago, right? Like there's only so much shit that human beings experience.
Yeah.
Or topical shit that goes on throughout the day where you're like,
we go to work,
Yeah.
and we go to work, we went to school back in the day, we got kids now, we're fucking drinking. Like how much shit can actually happen? And usually it's happening to all of us.
Yeah.
If
At
it's
the
a big
same
event,
time,
right?
Yeah.
Like come on, man.
Yeah.
That's just petty and dumb.
Yeah.
Like
Crazy.
you're mad that your shitty version of that joke didn't hit. Because I couldn't have reformed that if it had worked the first time.
Yeah.
That's what the real fucking story is, right?
Yeah.
Like if you had told a joke and it was so good that it was iconic then, and then I come along and try to tell the same joke, people are like, oh, that's his joke.
Yeah.
You're mad that your fucking joke sucked. That's what you're mad about, in my opinion.
That's all there is.
What did you talk about when you did stand up? Like, what was your?
It's funny. I talked about it on the show briefly. I started super young, so I was like 16. Like the second I got I had a fake ID printed The day I got my driver's license, I'm from Georgia. So I'd go down to all the clubs in Atlanta, every open mic thing, all that other shit.
Did you have a fake name on the ID?
Oh yeah,
What was it?
of course. Fuck man,
I don't remember the
It was
name.
like Brad Pascal or something.
yeah.
It was close to Trump's fucking digital guy, whatever it was, like a Brad Pascali or something like that.
Because I'm always curious, like as a 16-year-old, you're like, all right, what sounds like an old cool guy name?
Well,
Definitely
here's
not McLovin, right?
No, but I was smart enough to know, like, hey, go white man basic name, because if not, like, I can't get away with LeVon, you know?
Probably not.
L-E capital V
Probably
A-U.
not.
I can't do that.
Yeah.
But I was telling jokes.
A Greg or a Gary, I would have gone with for you.
Yeah, Brad.
Brad's good.
Brad's
like
easy,
fucking. Yeah. Everybody knows a Brad.
Drywall Brad, you know?
Yeah.
But I was not to fucking yank my own dick. I was smart, but almost too smart for comedy. So I was writing jokes that were way older than my age. So when I went on stage, I fucking bombed because all the jokes were written for what I would be like at 23 or 24, like writing wise.
Right.
And then everybody was like, I mean, it was awful.
So
I
you
remember
were doing observational stuff about older people, but coming from
correct
somebody who hadn't lived
or
it?
talking about sex and things like that. Well, no, I mean, I was doing wild shit, but like, it was hard to relate what I was doing because it seemed crazy at the time, right?
Totally. And also,
When I got off stage and I bombed, I threw up in the parking lot. It was like 2 Heinekens in. I felt terrible. And the guy who was running it was just like, hey, man, I think you're really funny and you're obviously very smart. This material is way too old for you. You've got to relate it down to when people were that age or whatever,
Yeah.
right? And then it took me like 2 or 3 months to go back up because I was like,
that was too demoralizing.
Yes, and you never get rid of that feeling inside of you where you're like, oh my God, that was the worst, most uncomfortable.
Until you go back up again
Right.
and you do better.
Well, I
Which you
went
didn't
back.
do.
I went
you
back
did,
up.
okay.
I did. 3 months later, it's going awful for like the first 3 or 4 minutes. Some guy starts heckling me from the audience, and I fucking annihilate him in front of everyone. Huge laughs. I end up crushing, and then it's like golf. You hit a perfect drive, and then you want to play golf over and over and over again, even though you're fucking terrible the rest of your life. So it got better, and things got better. And then as I was going along all through college, and then I went to, after Ohio State, NYU, I get to do all the New York clubs and all that shit. One of my professors was like, hey, man, you're going to have to choose at some point whether you want to be an actor and a writer versus a stand-up comedian, because he had done stand-up, and he was like, look, you can be great at either or. However, it has got to take full dedication to the craft. Know that this is a craft. Know that stand-up is a craft, or acting and writing is a craft, and dedicate your time to one of them. If you kind of dabble in all this shit, you'll never be great at one. He was absolutely right, and it changed my life. But it got to a point for me, and I don't know, obviously not you, but going up in front of 30 or 40 people, like on these Tuesdays or at these weird fucking places, I was like, I started doing jokes for myself, to where I was like, fuck these people. I'm just going to do what makes me laugh.
Yeah.
And I always got a kick out of it, but I was like, what the fuck are 30 or 40 people going to do for me now? And then I quit because I realized I wasn't a lifer, and I wasn't willing to dedicate myself to that. And then I got a bunch of movies and all that other stuff. And so then my career was chosen for me, luckily. I didn't have to pick.
Right.
But I was 23 when that happened, and I didn't have to worry about doing stand-up anymore because the movies were going great. So,
but also you didn't want to do it anymore.
yes.
Yeah,
Because
it's
that's
a
the thing
grind,
where
man.
Correct.
you figure out early on where it's like, because I had a similar experience when I was studying abroad in London, and I went up and bombed. I like smooth talked my way onto a show that I shouldn't have been on because I felt like I heard that story somewhere from somebody in LA, and I was like, and I somehow, it was like, I was just doing these shitty bar open mics while I was out there. And there was a great underground show that I found, and it was packed. And I got the guy he goes, I'll let you do 7 minutes after the host. And he gave me a shitty intro, fucked up my name. I went up there, made some joke about him just to kind of like get the room back. That didn't go well. Did one joke the only joke that I remember getting a little bit of a laugh was Michael Jackson had just come out with, to go back to him, a CD called One. I think it was all his number one hits.
yeah.
So I go, it's got all the hits. I go, I just got it. I go, and it's just great. It's got every hit. It's got, Thriller, Black or White, and of course, the single that no one's really talking about, Okay, I Did It, I Fucked That Kid in the Ass. I go, which is huge in Germany. And that got like a little bit of a laugh, and then the rest was just crickets. And I remember going to a phone, calling my mom, being like, and the host was such a dick to me after.
Yeah.
And it was just demoralizing, where I was like, I'm done. This sucks. And my mom was like, yeah, or you could do it again tomorrow and fucking, right the wrong and erase that memory. But there's something in you feel, whether you just know you're okay with stepping away and being like, that's not for me, which good on you for realizing that, because you're like, I have talent in other areas, that are speaking to me and providing opportunities now because, dude, it is a fucking grind. And it's like everybody goes through the times when you're like, man, when is it going to turn for me? And then, but that's the whole, like anything, right? Like even with this, you guys are crushing it. It's like there's a moment where you turn and you go, all right, cool. Everything I did prior to this was worth it. And I laid a bunch of pipe to get to this moment. And you just know innately in yourself if you're willing to give yourself over and sacrifice things like friendships, social life, relationships. And I definitely had moments where I was like, oh, this relationship didn't work out because I was not willing to skip a couple mics to go to her friend's birthday party, which I said I would go to, and you just got to make those choices. And then there was a point when I didn't feel bad about, with all my buddies, like post-college, when I was getting going, about skipping like a party that they had to see them all because I was like, oh no, I want to get to a point to where, because they'd be like, are you still doing comedy? And it's like a year in, and that like bugged me. And I was like, fuck. And also then like going to the factory by myself and seeing these guys, it was intimidating seeing Dane do what he was doing, but it was also inspiring because you're like, I want to fucking do that at some point. But there is something to be said also about, because all this good shit that's happened for you, like wouldn't have happened if you didn't make that choice.
Right.
Yeah, and then what you cut to now, right? So my agent was just like, hey man, a couple years ago, he's like, hey man, the podcasts are huge and all that shit. He goes, dude, I could start booking you out to do stand up again all over the country.
Yeah, if you've got your own audience, you could book any show
like, dude,
anywhere.
with your podcast, he's like, you can do a special and whatever you want. He's like, I can fucking book that. And I was like, no man, I don't have time to dedicate to
do it
that
right.
craft.
Well, because you would do live podcasts. You'd have to get back into doing stand up
Dude, stand up is a whole fucking different game. And that's what I told him. I go, hey man, as much as that money seems cool and all that shit, I was like,
you don't want to go up there and have them go for the first time and then be like, oh, I'm not going back because
and not only that,
he
but
was rusty.
if I did a shitty 1 hour somewhere on Netflix or whatever, right? Then everybody who listens to the podcast will be like, oh, is that him in real life? Because he fucking sucks.
No, you can't do any kind of 1 hour without putting in probably 150 shows before that.
It's a good fucking 8 to 10 month process, man. I mean,
there's no fucking way. You don't.
And that's if you've been doing it.
Yes,
like Chris Rock will do a couple years before a special.
Yeah.
But it's like if you've taken a solid break, like the rhythms of having timing and whatnot will come back for you probably quicker than you assumed.
Some of that technical shit people don't understand. Like you have a joke and you figure out exactly where the big laugh happens, but you have more of that joke to tell. Now you know to fucking pause right there, let that laugh happen, and then finish that joke again. Then you get the fucking follow on, the additional laugh afterward. You don't ruin part of your joke. Like little shit like that. That you have to learn over the course of that time. You can't do it, and you can't just walk on stage and do this shit.
No, and the other thing is
that's why people like Steve Byrne.
Yeah, Steve Byrne's one of our
that guy.
buddies.
He's been doing it for so
he's
long,
the best, dude.
and now he's finally
a workhorse.
He's finally getting some fucking momentum with the opening act, right? Like he's a legit writer director.
He's the best. By the way, he'll be on in 3 weeks.
Yeah. He's always been so respected though because he's
a professional.
He's
comedian.
always writing. He's always funny first and foremost, likable, has stayed a good dude, works hard in other areas aside from stand up, and is just and that's another part of it is just like staying in it. You see people that just drop off. Like I remember Greg Giraldo is one of my favorite comics, and I remember he said in an interview probably a couple years before he passed about thinking about taking a break, but then or he was asked if he stopped, if he would do it again, and he was like probably not. He's like there's no like really, unless it was like a short, if it was something for he had a job for a movie for a couple months. Mm-hmm. But you see guys like that, even Burr, like you're trying to find stages to get up on, and that's why the sitcom world is so great. Like when Undateable was on,
like 2 hours a day.
Yeah, and then that's why when people were giving a Chris D'Elia a hard time about doing shows all the time during. Not a hard time, like being like, wow, I can't believe you're still doing that and you shooting the show. And he's like, yeah, I'm done shooting the show at like, or rehearsing at like 2. So I have why would I not go out? And then just the tape night is maybe the one night you
Friday
don't because
night,
that's super late. But yeah, man, it's, but all that experience you did prior, at least like probably wet the whistle for having the gift of gab, right?
Yeah,
and being comfortable on stage and comfortable in this. And
yeah, and it's one of those things too where I see people who have big podcasts doing, specials and all that shit, and they're terrible. And I'm like, man, you're making enough money. Like, don't do that. And it's bad for your fucking show, man. So
it is. And this is the thing too with when you see like, people that don't do it then get a Netflix special, and you're like, man, and like, good on you. I mean, shit,
I'm sure there's like 10 people you could name where you're like, that was fucking terrible.
Totally. And then, but then you go, but they're a little bit of a star fucker with that. And they also, if the person can do it and feel okay about knowing that, like, oh, cool, I didn't really put in I just got famous from this and I have an opportunity to do it, so I'm going to do it. Like, you know, good on you.
Well,
but Steve-O, for example, put in the fucking work, man.
He did,
and I got a lot of respect for that because he took advantage of what he'd built up. And
but at least he did the work.
Totally, and he you know, has always been a funny dude, and really took time to curate and polish like these great stories, and the show, the special, can't remember the name of it, but the one he just came out with that has all these, the bucket list tour, like these stories. I mean, he fucking worked them and hit the road with them, and you know, a buddy of mine and myself, you know, sat down with him and helped him kind of punch some things up while he was on tour, and he really just cared about making it as great as he possibly could in the time that he had. But even prior to that, before he even put out a special, he was like, I need to go put in the legwork for a while and get to a point to where I'm getting a response from an audience, and that feels like the right time. You know?
Well, you could see how emotionally invested the comic is in the joke working.
Right.
So then think about how they have to spend 100 to 150 shows, 40% of which that joke doesn't hit the way they want it to. So it's just failure and failure and failure all the time. And then all of a sudden it works, right? You got to imagine that gets kind of addictive.
Yeah.
Right? Like I know about it. One of the unpopular things that post 9/11 GWAT vets talk about sometimes is the thrill of combat, I guess. Like somebody shooting at me and I win that exchange.
Yeah.
That you feel a certain way about that.
Yeah.
And I think that process of overcoming what is clearly a very challenging thing to do and something that's very technical, and you have to do it, and there's no way to skip that process for most people. You have to do it in volume, so you're going to fail a lot, and then finally succeeding. That has to become addictive.
It's for sure an addiction, yeah.
And it's not just about not about ego. It's not about the crowd. It's about the fucking work you did, and finally getting the credit for the work that really super hard and fucking mind fucked work that you've done all over time.
Oh yeah.
That's why I respect stand-up comedians. And when somebody asks me if I'm a comedian, I say no.
Yeah.
Like I talk about shit.
Yeah.
And it's funny sometimes.
Podcast comedian,
But I'm
yeah.
not a comedian because that's like stolen valor to me.
Yeah,
to be
exactly.
honest.
Exactly. Where can everybody find you doing stand-up tonight, by the way?
Oh, Anton's over on, I don't know what street that is, maybe 5th Street. But then
Google Anson's
Google
in
Anson's.
Austin, Texas, like
Kill
a fucking
Tony show.
adult. He doesn't need to give you the address. Now's the point in the show we get to the Drinkin' Bro of the Week, which is someone who has inspired you or helped you become the person you are today. Who would you like to give the Drinkin' Bro of the Week to?
Oh wow, man, let's throw it to, man. I mean, it's, you know, without a doubt, my mom.
Yeah, I was going
There
to
you
say,
go.
if you don't say your mom after all
Yeah,
this.
I got to, man.
You'd
I
be
mean,
a dirtbag.
she just crushed it. You know, folks split when I was 9. Did multiple jobs. Sister had to go to a girls' school for a little bit. Was just my mom and I from 8th grade through high school. So it was like best friend, but also enemy, because I'm like growing up and becoming a young man. And it was this push and pull of like, can you wash the cum off my basketball jersey before tomorrow's game? But also like, give me some space. I'm a man, you know?
Yeah.
So, and she just was going through her own shit. And, you know, you don't realize how much just pain there can come from a divorce if, and, you know, my dad and I have gotten to a good place now, but like, you know, you look at your folks as folks for a while, and then you're like, oh, they're people when you
You're
get
a human
older,
being, yeah.
and especially now in the later years, she's, you know, pushing 71, but still, you know, she's I mean, when she comes out to LA, and she came to the I'm on this show called Crossing Swords for Hulu. It's from the Robot Chicken guys, and she came to their Christmas party and was fucking chumming it up with Seth Green and everybody, and everyone's fucking, I love her, she's the fucking coolest. And she was like, I don't want to go to bed. She's having some cocktails. It was like 3 a.m, and you know, this is when she's 70, and so she's you know, life of the party, super sweet, puts everybody ahead of herself always, and probably to a fault. And but when she married my stepdad, was able to not have to work crazy hours and do that. But when I was a kid, she made sure that had enough, that I felt like I could do my sports, and she helped out with all the plays at our theater school and high school, building sets, wanted to be involved and be around, but also was never like coddling, was just, and even as I got older, and like I said, when I called her from London, if I had bad auditions or just the grind of starting from nothing when you graduate theater school and you're like, now I'm in LA, I have to build something out of nothing. There's really no blueprint for this. You're just trying to working at a casting office, working at fucking a tour guide at Universal Studios to get some sort of a performing flex, and then, you know, taking acting classes, still doing improv classes, doing open mics, trying to do YouTube videos, and just grinding, and could always count on her to support, but not you know, discourage or coddle, for lack of a better word. Like, just if I had these, like, fuck, I got close on this thing finally, and, you know, the first taste of almost getting something, not getting it, and feeling bad, you know, and being like, yeah, cool, yeah, that sucks. Well, fucking good thing you have this, and this to keep jamming on, right? And reminding me of, like, oh yeah, and that's why I am glad that I, you know, try to have my feet in a couple different worlds, because it does help so that you don't have all your eggs in one basket waiting around for those auditions to pan out. And but she just believed without, again, like, over supporting too, right? Not being like, she's definitely been very vocal with her opinions about, oh, this wasn't that great, or I feel like, and now it's, nowadays, like I did this My Pillow sketch where I dressed up in full Mike Lindell. And
he's fucking Jane Krakowski now.
What's that?
That's fucking Jane Krakowski.
Who is?
Mike Lindell.
Oh, yeah. But so she, like, saw that, and I was doing this whole thing where I was like, oh, I have Mike Lindell, and we got new pillows, we got KKK pillows, we got swastika pillows if you order now. And it was this whole thing, and she was like super funny. She's like, I love this and this. She's like, didn't need the KKK thing. She's like, you know, you didn't need this. And I'm like, cool, Mom. Like, it's, you know, clearly a character, clearly, you know, that's not me. Like, I don't think that would be funny if that was an actual product, but it was trying to explain that to her. And that might be a little bit of being a little bit older and having you know, what she likes and don't like. But she's, you know, very savvy on that front as far as comedic sensibility. But
all moms are like that, by the way. She watches this.
Totally.
Yeah.
They always, you have this idea of what your kid should be.
We actually do. We have some very surprising daily listeners, one of whom sent us like a whiskey chiller. Sandy.
It's on the ground.
Yeah, like she's not really in our demo, so to speak. But there's women like that out there, right? That are just like, for whatever reason, they're just tougher than everybody else.
Totally. But she's also,
because that's what you're describing as good leadership, by the way. Like, that's exactly how you define good leadership.
Yeah, I get a text from my mom when I was doing a ghost bed read, and she goes, I wouldn't say Casey Anthony wants to have another baby on a ghost bed. You're going to lose them as a sponsor. And I was like, no, the ghost bed loves that type of shit. Like, they're fine. We're all on the up and up, but it's like,
but you
it's
appreciate
a different age.
Attentiveness. And I will say too, like,
age.
she has gotten, and probably your moms as well, like, when they get a front row seat to the kind of you being in this business and starting to kind of, they get, you know, maybe open another door for themselves on what they think is funny because of you doing it. And also, you know, what they don't think is funny.
They're still going to feel nervous for you as a parent, though, right?
That's a huge part of where it stems from.
They were probably way more nervous than you are about anything, to be honest.
But it's been cool because and even the first few times I do stand-up, you know, she'd again say what was good, but not be like, it would have been a disservice if 5 shows in, or like the first time I headlined, which was at a club in Seattle, maybe 4 years in, and she was real sweet about it, but she wasn't like, you fucking made it, you did it.
Right.
So, and you need that, because you're like, okay, cool, like, because having yes men around like that, especially from your family, is can you know, stunt the growth. So shout out to my mom, Puddin'. Her real name's Carolyn, but Puddin's her nickname, and she's a spunky little Jew from Oklahoma.
She got that name in prison.
Yep.
She did.
Because she stole everybody else's pudding the whole time.
She got a B&E for stealing pudding back in the day.
Great tattoos, though. I mean,
amazing. So many tattoos.
Amazing.
Where tramp sap is just a giant, it's a double asshole.
It's
called a callback jokes.
Yeah.
There it is. Where can everybody find you on social media?
At Adam Ray Comedy on Instagram and Twitter. My podcast about last night. My crowd work album just came out. It's called I'll Take It From Here. There's also a full stand-up album called Read the Room. Those are on wherever you get your audio. Young Rock comes out February 16th on NBC.
It's going to be a huge show.
I think it'll be cool, yeah.
Is it on Peacock?
No, NBC. Straight up NBC.
Good.
TV,
that's great.
Okay, cool.
That's great.
And then Crossing Swords Season 2, I think, drops in April, and that's on Hulu. And it's like a filthy it's all the stop motion like Robot Chicken. It's a filthy medieval time show. The cast is dope. It's Seth Green, Tony Hale, Breckenmeyer.
Oh, I love Tony Hale. Tony Hale's Buster from Arrested Development.
Correct.
Yeah, hilarious. And from Veep. Goddamn, that show.
Oh, he's so good. Yeah.
He's such a knucklehead, man.
Yeah.
Really good.
Fucking love that dude.
Well, hey, thanks for stopping by.
This was
man.
awesome, yeah.
Yeah, dude. Hopefully
Appreciate
we
it.
can work with you in the future. You're
be dope.
a fucking talented dude, man.
Yes, man.
And
It's good to hang.
Love your
this is exactly what you want
podcast.
podcast to be. Just a loose chat, double asshole talk, some fucking
A
mom
lot
chat.
of visuals. John Mayer's cock. It's a two-hander.
I didn't get to see it, by the way. So leave something for the next.
We'll show you after. We'll show you after. For Adam Ray, D'Anthony Holloway, I am Ross Patterson. This is the Drinkin' Bros. Good night, everyone.